the Cajun capital of the world.
I'm the average Lafayette, Louisiana kid.
See, I'm back on my...
Hey, fellas. Hey, Brady Review said, congratulations. Say what's up, y'all. Yeah!
People that have courage don't have no extra gene. There's no difference in you. The difference is, are you going to sit down when it's time to stand up?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into another edition of Rage and Review, postseason edition, as we kick off the regional tournament in Starkville, Mississippi tomorrow night. I'm trying to get better at saying Starkville because I got corrected by a Mississippi State person today because I was talking trash at work, because now I cover a Mississippi office, and I on the Zoom today absolutely talked crap, and I don't apologize for it. And they corrected me and said it's Starkville, not Starkville. So I'm gonna call him Clay. I'm gonna call him Clay. Okay, that's all I got to say about that. Boys, it is regional time. I'm losing my mind, KG. I see you shaking your head. I'm just going on and on. I've been on here. You heard the music that was playing when you got on here. I've been sitting here for about 45 minutes, listening to music, reading tweets, getting ready for the show. I'm pumped up, buddy.
DJ Doe on the ones and twos tonight. Yeah, you were absolutely rocking whenever I got in the lobby. So we were having a good time. But no, I'm gonna go back to your Starkville comment. Just drop the Vol and just make it Stark Vegas, baby. We're going to Stark Vegas. We're going gamble this weekend, playing with house money. The Cajuns had an absolutely phenomenal week last week, and they parlayed that into a really good regional opportunity in Starkville. But man, I'm excited. I made a tweet today. You know, it's the night. It's Christmas Eve, right? It's the night before Christmas. One more sleep, you wake up, and your whole day's in front of you. That's what it feels like to me, boy. It's Christmas Eve, and we've waited all year for this moment.
What time are you going to start drinking tomorrow?
As soon as I open my eyes.
That's my man. I got to work tomorrow, so I would never do such a thing. But I will, at some point tomorrow, start engaging in the festivities. Boys, let's take a quick break. Thank our sponsors. When we come back, we'll get into it with a preview of all the teams, but really we're going to deep dive into Cincinnati, our first opponent of the regional tournament, when we come back right after this. We'd like to thank the following partners who make Rage and Review possible. Our title sponsor, the Best Stop Family Market, with locations in Katy and Baytown, Texas, Toledo Bend, Karen Crow, and of course the official location opened in 1986 in Scott. Visit the Best Stop and ask about the Rage and Review tailgate platters. Gulf Coast Bank, title sponsor of the Tailgate Show every Saturday, 3 hours before kickoff. Planet Radio 106.7, Lafayette Roofing, The Yard Goat, Yes Please Branding and Marketing, Old Time Grocery, Stride Safety Solutions, Eat Lafayette, brought to you by Lafayette Travel, Rage and Hydration, and Dr. Brett Venable at Recovery Chiromed. And we'd also like to thank our Patreon sponsors listed here. For only $2 a month, you too could have early access to uncut interviews before they air here on our shows. You also get an exclusive Patreon icon next to your name on Cajun Threads, the official message form for Rage and Review. If you are interested in joining as a Patreon, visit us at patreon.com/Rage and Review. Thanks to all of our corporate and Patreon sponsors for making this show possible. Thanks once again to the Best Stop Cajun Market, as well as all of our sponsors who make this show possible. What's up to Seth, just joining the chat. Cajun Killer asking, will there be a watch party? There will not be a watch party here on Rage and Review, but I'm sure there will be some watering holes in the Lafayette area that will have the game on and be a lot of fun. Or even if you're not, it's probably going to be on across the country because that's what time it is. It is March Madness. I guess you could call it May Madness for baseball right now. Boys, let's start talking about the regional tournament. And of course, first thing we want to talk about is Cincinnati. Cincinnati comes into the tournament with a 37-20 overall record, 17-13 in Big 12 play. They're a team who played small ball last year. That was really their philosophy. And we kind of call it Deggs ball. Well, they called it, I forgot what their head coach's name is, but it's the same thing. They called it his type of ball club because they stole a lot of bases. They didn't hit for a whole lot of power, but they were able to play a lot of small ball and get a lot of wins in the last couple of years. And then all of a sudden they show up this year and start bashing the ball all over the field. We're going to get into the details. Cole's put together a great rundown of what they look like. But before we do that, I just want to say for those guys, they're 19-7 at home, 17-12 on the road, and they went 1 in barbecue in the Big 12 tournament this year, losing 10-2 to Arizona State. But they were ranked number 17 at the time. Now they're ranked number 24. Louisiana is number 25. Cole, tell us a little bit more about the Cincinnati Bearcats.
Yeah, great intro. Like you said, 37-20 overall and ranked number 24 in the country. Cajuns right behind them in the D1 poll at 25. And that's a nod to the Cajuns and how they played last week. Again, like I talked about a little bit earlier. But yeah, let's jump into their offense. I mean, this is a pretty damn good offense, boys. And I'm gonna go down the line in almost batting lineup order. Thank you, Mike, for all the work that you did getting me all this info for D1baseball.com. We know Kendall Rogers and his team do a lot of good things with each and every ball club in D1. But let's get started. Leadoff is going to be second baseman Jackson Smith, batting .300 on the season with 63 runs scored, which leads the team. He also has 21 stolen bases, which also leads the team. 3 triples, 5 home runs, and 45 RBIs. So a dangerous threat at the top of the order. We might see in that 2-hole left fielder Ryan Taransky, .327 hitter with 46 runs scored, 3 triples on the year, 6 home runs, 31 RBIs, and 14 stolen bases. At first base, the killer, their big bopper, Quentin Coates, .346 hitter on the year with 57 runs scored, has 1 triple. But this is where he leads the team in home runs with a whopping 28 and RBIs with 78. The kid can absolutely drive the ball around the yard. He also has 10 stolen bases on the year. In that 4-hole, we might see right fielder Derek Pitts hitting .339 with 48 runs scored, 6 home runs, 41 RBIs, and 17 stolen bases. Behind the dish, we might see Jack Natalie. He has a .336 average, 46 runs scored, 3 triples, 16 home runs, 57 RBIs, and 4 stolen bases. In the designated hitter spot, we might see Enzo Infelice, .371 hitter with 34 runs scored on the year, 9 home runs, 44 RBIs, and 2 stolen bases. At third base, we might see Christian Mitchell, .238 hitter with 24 runs scored, 4 home runs, 23 RBIs, and 9 stolen bases. In center field, you'll see Colin Daniel, a .237 hitter with 30 runs scored, 2 triples, 3 home runs, 18 RBIs, and 14 stolen bases. And in the shortstop position, you'll see Charlie Niehaus, .208 hitter, 31 runs, 2 triples, 4 home runs, 15 RBIs, and 11 stolen bases. A couple names I want to throw out there because it's guys that got some, substantial playing time here and there. Left fielder, Cal Selfick, .294 hitter, 18 runs scored on the year with 15 RBIs and 3 stolen bases. And we might see third baseman Jackson Reardon hitting .188 with 12 runs scored, a home run, 7 RBIs, and 6 stolen bases. So that's a little bit of a look at their offensive guys, pretty much in lineup order. At least that's what D1 Baseball is telling us is what we should be seeing. But I'm going to give you some offensive statistics and their NCAA ranks. This offense, the Cincinnati Bearcat offense, is hitting .300 as a team, ranking them 42nd in the country. They have scored 420 runs, ranking them 62nd in the country. 588 hits on the year, which ranks them just outside the top 25 at 26th. 97 doubles on the year, which ranks them 153rd in D1. 84 home runs on the year, which ranks them 37th overall. They are slugging at a 492 clip, which is good enough for 40th in the country. They have drawn 270 walks, good enough for 79th in the country. They have 525 Ks as a team. NCAA does not register that as a stat, but that is pretty high when you think of D1 baseball teams. 525 strikeouts as a team. They are hitting 403, they have a 403 on base percentage, which ranks them 47th in the country. They have 115 steals on the year. So not only do they hit for power, this team can run. So 115 ranks them 33rd in the country. And lastly, their fielding percentage, which is what I'm hoping the Cajuns can take advantage of tomorrow night. They are fielding at a 972 clip, which is good enough for 127th in the country. So that's a little bit of a look at the Cincinnati Bearcat offense and where they rank. Let's go around the horn, boys, but I'll start with this. Quentin Coates is a monster, and you got to keep him off the base paths, and you cannot give him meatballs right down the middle because he's going to make you pay for it.
Well, there are two guys. Enzo Infelice may be even hotter than he is right now, and he is a big dude. They're both big dudes. But Enzo Infelice is 6'2", 225, but at the plate, dude looks like a monster. He looks like a monster at the plate, and he carries himself that way as well. Quentin Coates is 6'3", 225. And I think the combination of those two, and also you're looking at the catcher, Natili, who is, I mean, his OPS is 1,000. He's got 16 homers on the year. He's like what Colt Brown will be when Colt Brown is a senior, is how I feel about that guy right now. So they have a very talented offense, I think. And then, as you mentioned, they played small ball last year. They've carried that over on the base paths. So they're very strategic on how they run the bases and are very successful there. I think, and in talking to one of their podcast guys over at Cincinnati yesterday, one of the things that you have to watch out for is in their fielding, Coates has 12 errors on the year. And the guy that I was speaking with, he was like, yeah, Coates ain't in the lineup because of his defense. So I think if the Cajuns get hot with the small ball and start trying to bunt for hits, that may open up opportunities for the Cajuns with the Cincinnati defense being a little vulnerable at first. But that being said, this is going to be a big challenge, especially in the ballpark where down the right field line, it's 305. It's 305 down the right field line. Very short. If you don't think they're going to be licking their chops going into play at Duty Noble tomorrow night, Cajuns too. I mean, I think every team going in there is going to be trying to hit it out the ballpark in BP today and tomorrow. So, boys, it will be a challenge. They have a very good offense, but as you can see, they can be stifled and were stifled against Arizona State in the tournament last week. So does that carry over? I don't know. I'll start with you, Michael. Mikey, tell me your thoughts about the Cincinnati offense.
Yeah, offensively, batting as 300, that's always pretty respectable. I think what you're going to have to do is with Coates and Natili, double-digit home runs. You have to calm their bats down. Make them uncomfortable, get that pitcher off the mound, bring those corner guys in to try to make a play. But to just go over some advanced stats, Coates, first baseman, 26% strikeout rate with a 12% walk rate. So getting him to strike out is going to be actually crucial. The catcher, 20% strikeout rate, 10% walk rate. Left fielder, 12% strikeout rate, 19% walk rate. Jack and Smith, second base, 19% strikeout rate, 14% walk rate. Right fielder, 20% strikeout rate, 11% walk rate. Right here, the center fielder, Daniel, he has a very high strikeout rate, 35% strikeout rate. That's going to be crucial. With these guys, if they have high strikeout rates, it's going to be crucial that we continue that. Don't let those guys get hot. The third baseman, 20% strikeout rate, 9% walk rate. And finally, the shortstop, 27% strikeout rate with a 12% walk rate. These guys can hit the long ball. I think it's going to be absolutely crucial. And I think Brash has a really good opportunity to calm the bats down. I think Brash is the perfect guy to throw against them. They're hot offensively, and I think Brash is really good at controlling really hot offensive teams. So it's what they can do against a 97-mile-an-hour fastball. I think we have a good shot. It's a good matchup. Even though they're hot offensively, I think with Brash, it'll balance it out and kind of soften it. As long as Brash throws strikes, I think that's going to be absolutely very, very, very important for Brash to do. But, man, they have some really good hitters. 1 through 9 can take it out. And between Coates and Natilli, you have to calm their bats down. Batting over 300, very good batting averages, and also they can take it out any day. So I think that's going to be crucial.
Kev, tell us your thoughts about Cincinnati offense.
Yeah, Mike. I mean, I completely agree. Would you say their team strikeout rate was right around 20%? Yeah, I mean, they're obviously a dangerous team that can hit the long ball, could hit for power. Another point that we made, they can run. They're an athletic team as well. So I think the biggest thing we need to do Friday night is get a good start from Cody. I want to see him go out there and challenge guys. I want to see him fill up the zone. Cody's a bit of a strikeout pitcher. There's going to be a lot of swing and miss stuff. With a team like this that's going to strike out a little bit more than some, that's a pretty good guy to start against him. You know, we were kind of talking about, you know, if you pitch backwards or whatever, and who does good against what type of pitcher, man. You got to go get the first one. That's the most important one, and I think Cody matches up well against this offense. We just got to keep him off the bases, fill up the strike zone. Don't give him any free passes, no errors. That's how you keep a good offense like this down. Look, they're going to probably hit a home run or two, and if so, that's fine, but they can't be crooked numbers. They got to be solo shots. You've got to keep runners off the bases. Kind of like us or a team like, say, Coastal, they get dangerous when they start getting runners on base. They start, putting stuff together. So I think Cody would do a good job of that, of filling up the zone, keeping them off the bases, and just attacking guys. Go after some people. That's what I want to see.
Jerry, I'll let you wrap it up, but I do want to ask you, and then we'll go to pitchers. But let's talk about Cody Brash, the matchup. Renee mentioned earlier, if he can spot a slider for strikes, good night, Cats. I tend to agree with him. I don't think it's going to be that easy. I think, Cincinnati will still get theirs in the opening game, and they'll be pumped up, and we'll be pumped up, and probably both teams will need to settle down through the first 3 innings. But I do like the matchup with Brash, and I do think if we somehow get through that game and meet up with Mississippi State in game 2, that sets us up nicely with a wide variety of options against Mississippi State.
Yeah, I think the big difference with Cody Brash is that one thing that makes Cody so dangerous is he can hit you with a fastball with an awkward angle from his pitch at 97, and then he'll hit you with a curve or a slider at like 78 or in the low 80s, and he'll hit you on that strike 2 count with a curveball or a slider that's very much off speed. So it throws the batter off many times, and that's usually where Cody is lethal. When you look at the Cincinnati team, I looked up a quick stat. They're 22-7 when their batters are walked 5 or more times. So one of the things that Cody's going to have to do is we make sure, to Kevin's point, you don't give them any free base runners. And they have 84 home runs on the year, so they make you pay pretty quickly. If you look at some of their scores this year, when they get into double digits, a lot of times they were base runners. And so Cody's going to have to be on his game, not only trying to limit or minimize their damage, as Ro would always say, but you can't give them freebies. That is a team that will make you pay very fast if you give them freebies. So I expect Cody to be Cody. I think Cincinnati, they're going to have to earn their offense tomorrow against Cody, but we cannot give them free base runners. Again, 22-7 when they walk 5 or more, and most of those, if you look at those stat lines and you look at those scores, a lot of those runs, a lot of them come at 6 or more runs as well. So can't give them any, again, can't make mistakes early on, can't give them free base runners. I think Cody's going to be fine, but their offense is challenging. This might be one of the better offenses, probably one of the best offenses we've faced all year.
Let's now move on to the pitching situation for Cincinnati. We'll face off against Nathan Taylor, 3.86 ERA, 112 strikeouts, and he actually broke Cincinnati's single season strikeout record this year with those 112 strikeouts in 84 innings. Tell us more, KG, about the pitching situation for Cincinnati.
Yeah, just like we rely on Cody Brash to get the job done on Friday nights, they rely on Nate Taylor to be their guy. This is a guy that has been there for, I believe, 3 years now, a 3-year starter, and they absolutely love Nate Taylor, and he's just their go-to. Like you mentioned, he broke the strikeout record for them in the single season with 112. He has a 1.2 whip. Guys, think about this: 112 strikeouts, but only 23 walks on the year. Insane. And he has thrown 84 innings this year as well. I'm looking for a great pitching matchup. Like, a couple of weeks ago, we got to see Andrew Herman go against Cam Flukie, and we were hyping that one up like it was going to be the marquee matchup of all of college baseball for the weekend. I know it's regional time, but I'm just as excited to see this matchup. Nate Taylor is a dog. Cody Brash is a dog. And it's basically going to come down to who blinks first. I know it might have been Andy who said it a second ago. The key to the game to him is that, we need to get Nate Taylor out of there early, and I completely agree. I think their bullpen is where they're vulnerable because, like us, Nate Taylor is their dog. So it's just going to come down to who blinks first, what offense can manufacture enough runs to get the starter out of the game. But I am going to go into their pitching stats real quick, and then we'll go around the horn. And I'll tell you what, I'll actually start with their projected relievers. I only got 2 of them today because I always give you that list as well, the guys that we might see after Nate Taylor. I'm going to start with Adam Bukowski, 27 appearances on the year with a 3.82 ERA and a 1.2 whip. Or they could go to Dominic Morrow, who has 20 appearances on the year with a 5.4 ERA and a 1.52 whip. Now I'll get into the pitching stats. As a staff, they're pitching at a 4.96 ERA. They have a 1.43 whip, which is good enough for 55th in the country in all of D1 baseball. As a staff, they have 16 saves. They have a 9.02 hits per 9, which ranks them 86th in the country. 9.5 Ks through 9, which ranks them 43rd in the country, and 3.82 walks per 9, which is good enough for 47th in the country. So, on paper, not a terrible pitching staff. I would call it above average, but of course, kind of like the Cajuns in a lot of ways. I think they mirror each other in a good bit of ways. They're going to have those 1 or 2 guys that what you get from them every time they take them out. So, being that they're starting their ace, Nate Taylor, which is what we all expected, we knew we were going to start Cody Brash. All the fans did at least. All of it's official now. So it's going to be ace versus ace and who blinks first. I'm really excited. The one thing we didn't talk about is home field advantage and the type of atmosphere that Starkville is, Duty Noble is. Well, keep in mind, Mississippi State's not playing tomorrow night. And the Cajun fans are bringing a pretty damn good contingency. I mean, I know at least 40, 50 people that'll be there by myself. I'm expecting the Cajuns to at least bring 1,500 to 2,000 faithful, which makes a big difference in the regionals, especially when you're playing a team that's not, hosting that regional. So I think the Cajuns are well equipped to play in that kind of a ballpark. I think we're the only team in this regional, if you're asking me, outside of Mississippi State, that the lights don't get too bright for us. Like, the Cajuns are used to playing in front of a lot of people. We've played in front of, 5,000 fans this year. I don't know if Cincinnati has seen that. I don't think Cincinnati brings a lot to the ball club. I haven't seen their attendance numbers, but what I'm getting at is the Cajuns are not going to get rattled just because the stands are full. And that goes even if we're able to win this game and maybe play a Mississippi State in front of, 10 grand. We're built for this. The boys are going to be ready. But, yeah, getting back to the pitching numbers and the pitching stats, above average pitching staff, they do some good things, but their bullpen is their vulnerability. Got to get to them early. And let's just let our offense, which is hot right now, do their thing.
Yeah, they played in big situations. Arizona State was hosting that tournament. They played that one. They played at Auburn, Big 12, outside of Cincinnati. I don't think they have a big home field advantage there because I think they draw like average of 1,000 fans a game. But I think outside of that, this is obviously going to be the biggest stage that they've been on this year, as well as us. We didn't get to play at TSAB this year. We played at home and it was loud and raucous, but it's not going to be 11,000, 12,000 fans in a baseball park. So obviously, we're not going to have that in game 1. Obviously, we're not going to have the stupid cowbells, but you will still have 5,000, 6,000 people in the stands, which will be up there for them and pretty average for us at home. Mike, one of the things that scares me about their pitching staff is if Taylor gets off to a really good start, we don't get to him early, he goes 6 innings. They've got a guy, Adam Bukowski. Opponents are only hitting 174 against him. And in talking to the Cincinnati guy, that's who they're going to rely on to shut us down if Taylor either gets in trouble or if he's coasting and he needs somebody to finish the game. So I think, again, it's crucial we get to him early, but that's going to be a tall task against a really, really good pitcher who likes to strike out a lot of batters, and we like to strike out quite a bit ourselves.
Yeah, we have to really make him uncomfortable. I think that's going to be the biggest thing. This guy is a premium plus arm, a Friday night guy in a conference that's third in the RPI as a conference standpoint. So since we're not playing a 3-game series, I was able to narrow down on more of his detailed stats, and he's every bit of good. He is going to be probably one of the best arms that we're ever going to face. 6'5", so I'm going to try to go down the rabbit hole without being too long. 6'5", 230. He was number 182 in the 2026 MLB draft prospect. Primarily, he's going to be a two-pitch guy, but he does have a curveball and his changeup in his back pocket. You might see his changeup more against lefties, according to D1. He's a guy that can touch 96 miles an hour, but he'll probably be consistent from that 92, 95, 94 range. He has a slider that he's going to rely on at mid-80s. Last year, his slider was a 44% whiff rate. Last year. Coming to this year, his fastball was 70% strikes. This guy is going to pound the zone and try to beat you with two pitches. On his fastball is a 38% whiff rate, 2,500 spin rate. His slider has a 40% whiff rate with a 35% chase rate. He's going to throw that slider. It's going to be crucial that we stay disciplined in the plate. The changeup, he won't rely on it too much, but he might throw it more against lefties. He has a better angle where it tails out against them. But opponents batting 243. What's so impressive is that this year, up to this point, his walk rate is 6% walk rate. He's going to pound the zone. He's not going to give away gimmies. His strikeout rate is 30%. This guy is going to be a plus arm. He might play at that next level. But what was so impressive is that whenever I really looked into his stats, from every stat from a pitching standpoint, he has gotten better. From on-base percentage, he developed and got better. His slugging, opponent slugging dropped year by year. On-base plus slugging dropped year by year. His strikeout rate got better and better every single year. He was with Cincinnati for 3 years. His walk rate went down, went from a 10% all the way to a 6% within 3 years. This guy's going to pound the zone. He leaves this year 71% left on base. If you get on, he responds really well. But also, lastly, this year, his ground ball rate is 57%. You're going to see a lot of balls that are going to get hit on the ground. Line drive, only 16% were able to get line drives off of him. Not many people are barreling it up off of him. Fly ball rate, 25%, and also pop-up, 1%. So this guy is every bit of good. His stats back it up. When I was able to go down the rabbit hole on this guy, every single year he got better in a pitching standpoint statistically. So he's not – I just don't see him giving away gimmies. We're going to have to be very disciplined. Don't chase out the zone. Really make him uncomfortable. If we can't hit him, we got to resort to the bunt. We got to get that guy off the mound, put some pressure on him, make him out of breath, get the corner guys chasing. So if we're expecting gimmies, not going to happen. He's going to attack us. This is a conference third in the RPI. He's a Friday night guy. He might play at that next level. So I think the pitching has a good matchup, and I think if we can get Brash to about that fourth, fifth inning, but also just make Taylor really uncomfortable. We're going to have to get him aggravated, really lay the bunt down, try to get some swings on him. It's going to be crucial. Don't let him settle in and get to that fourth, fifth, sixth inning, because I think we might be done by then. I think if we can attack him really, really early, making him uncomfortable, I think that's a really advantage we might have.
Just FYI, Taylor's last win was against Texas Tech. It was their last Big 12 conference series of the year, and Cincinnati won that game 13-1. In that game, Nathan Taylor had 5 1/3 innings pitched, gave up 4 hits, a run. One of them earned, or that one run was earned, struck out 7, and threw 79 pitches through 5 1/3. So good appearance. They followed him up with Dylan Schuler, who we may also see in relief. He gave up a hit, but zeros across the board after that. And I'm just looking at their stats from that game. Quentin Coates had 4 hits and 6 RBI. That guy is just sick. Kev, Mike talked a lot about getting to them early, but also being able to attack them and make him uncomfortable. How do you do that against such a good pitcher like Nate Taylor?
I think the way that you do that is you go after him. Okay, so Mike said this guy's got a strikeout pitch, his slider. It's a 40% whiff rate. He's going to try to get you with that slider. You're sure he's only got 23 walks this year and 112 punch outs, so he's going to try to get ahead of you. And it's it's kind of the opposite of what I said about them on the mound or us on the mound. I want to see us attack. I want to see us attack fastballs. I want to see us sit on the fastball. A 1% pop-up rate is crazy, actually. That's an insane stat. So if we can get to him and get some hard line drives through the middle, or maybe get some ground balls to punch through the middle, kind of like we did a lot in the tournament last weekend. Look, we've kind of struggled with Friday night pitching for a good bit of the year. We were all kind of like, even when we started doing, playing a little bit better, it seemed like really good Friday night arms would give us fits, which it's a Friday night guy for a reason. That's understandable. But this is one of your better aces that you'll see all year. I mean, like these numbers are incredible. I mean, this is a real guy. This is a real pitcher we're going to play Friday. So, yeah, I just want to see. I want to see us get to him early, get after the fastball, try to make him uncomfortable, like you said, Mike. Try to run them out of there as quick as possible. And I know they got a good closer they can go to, but the quicker you can get to them, the better. Don't get behind in the counts. Create some chaos on the bases. Nick said their first baseman's got 12 errors on the year. I believe they play on a turf field as well. We'll be on the dirt again this weekend, although probably a much better quality dirt in Mississippi State than you had in Montgomery. But hopefully, and then there's a little bit of chance of rain Friday. It might be a little bit damp. So there's a lot of opportunities for us to create chaos if we can get guys on. So yeah, attack often and early. Don't let them get ahead of you. Don't let them strike you out with that slider, and create some chaos on the base pass. Use that bunt, use our speed, and just play pack baseball, hard, fast, and loose, baby.
Jerry, are we gonna have to play small ball in the wind tomorrow night, or are we gonna bash it like we did in the tournament?
I think we're going to have to make contact against this pitcher. I mean, that's the way you get on him early. I think Luke made a comment. You got to hunt the fastball. I mean, he's just like Cody. Got a good fastball that can hit you with a slider, hit you with a breaking ball on the strike 2 count. And once he gets his once he gets into a groove with his early strikeouts, it's hard to hit him. So we're going to have to, not going to say chase early on, but making contact is going to be very important. I think one thing that I'm very thankful for is last week I noticed in just about every game outside of that Thursday night game against Texas State, we did make good contact. All the way from Marshall through Coastal, through the 2 Texas State games on Saturday, including the Southern Miss game on Sunday. Even though we couldn't generate runs, we made early contact. And then we're going to have to do the same thing against Taylor. He's a really good pitcher. He's pitched against the best of them in the Big 12, has pitched against some really stiff competition, some good teams. But, we've talked about when it comes to house money. I like our batters right now. I like the way our guys are approaching the plate. They've gained a lot of discipline in the last few weeks, so they're going to have to bring their A game tomorrow and do the same against this guy. And again, make contact early on. I think if they make contact early on, the ball's going to land where it's going to have to, and we're going to get some key base hits there.
All right, time for open mic conversation. I want to ask you guys, where are you going to be watching the game tomorrow night? Getting kicked off at 6 p.m. on ESPN Plus. I know a few of you aren't going to be watching it on ESPN Plus. Am I correct? I see a lot of nods. I see a lot of shaking of heads. Tell me, what are your plans for tomorrow, boys?
I will be on the road bright and early with my boy Luke Burbank, and we're going to be heading to Stark Vegas, baby. I will be in attendance tomorrow night with my turn 2s and my ball 4s. I know Mike's going to be with me. I know Kev's going to be with me. And there will be some beers consumed before and after that game as well. Like I said, we're going to do everything to make it a home field advantage for the Cajuns tomorrow. I'm hoping we can bring at least $2,000 and diehard Cajuns get those voices in that stadium, and I'm hoping we can create some chaos of our own outside of the lines. I just want to help the boys any way we can. Just be as loud as you can. All of those that are watching tonight, if you're making the trip, be as loud as you can. Try to sit with other fans that are being loud. We need to create that home field advantage as much as possible, because any little bit helps. Going against a team like Cincinnati that has that experience, that is a good offensive team, that pitches well, that little bitty edge does go a long way. So just show up, be loud and proud for the boys. But to answer your question, Nick, I will be loud and proud at Duty Noble tomorrow night.
Yeah, I'm assuming there's going to be no cooking because y'all are just going to be getting there. But is there consideration for possibly cooking on Saturday? Like, what y'all thinking? Because we got to have some Cajun food over there, right?
Yeah, we're bringing most of the tailgating crew. Like BJ and them's going to be with me. Luke, like I said, Luke's going to be coming. I think Luke said he might bring his black pot out there because he has a covered like a tunnel cover on his truck where he could put the black pot in the back of the truck and not have to worry about it getting rained on or anything like that. So I'm sure I talked to Liz Galt today, Owen Galt's mama. She said they got a big tailgate that's going to be going on, just outside the ballpark at one of the parking lots, and they got a lot of food and everything. So, but I'm sure at some point, whether it's at the tailgate or at the Airbnb, we're going to be cooking some food somewhere. There's going to be a lot of drinking and a lot of cooking this weekend, Nick. You're right about that.
And there's going to be a lot of people trying to eat your food, Kev. There's going to be a lot of people from Mississippi who don't know how to cook trying to eat everybody's food.
Yeah, lot 8, for anyone going to the game and knows about kind of the parking situation, lot 8 is where Miss Liz said the tailgate will be. So, yeah, I've heard a couple other podcasts mention they were excited to come down to Starkville. It was mainly Cincinnati, so they can try some real Cajun food. You had a guy talking about eating crawfish. I don't think we're doing no crawfish up there in Starkville, but I don't know. Maybe there'll be some jambalaya or something like that going on. I'm not too sure, but anywhere there's Cajuns, there's gonna be good food. Whether we're cooking it or we're finding it, we're gonna find a way to eat. So I think it's
Starkville, according to Doug's super secret. Inside connection, that's a burner that you guys don't know who he is, told him at Starksville. So I guess we got to go with that, right?
Whatever. He reminds me of Pop-Tart. Pop-Tart calls it St. Martinsville with an S. St. Martinsville.
Oh, man. Big Dave was Bull Bridge. We go to Bull Bridge. I know Jerry remembers that. We'll go to Bull Bridge, playing St. Martinsville. It should be a lot of fun for you guys. I'm a little bit jealous. I will tell you. When we make it to Sunday, so my story is I've got to be in Mississippi on Tuesday, having to board my dog, leave it with my parents. It's too long for me to have to worry about that, and I'm trying to sell a house. But when we make it to Sunday, I will make it to Starksville, Jerry. I will make it to Starksville.
I as well. When we win tomorrow and when we win on Saturday, Nick and I will meet you guys on Sunday to watch us dog pile at Duty Noble on Sunday.
You guys sound like fair weather fans. Only coming if we're winning. What the hell is that?
Yeah, did you sit through the Jerry Ball? Did you sit through the Jerry Ballwin years, Kev? No, I don't think so. I don't want to hear.
Yeah, exactly. We paid our dues, son.
Oh, we put our
dues.
We put our time in. We put our time in for many, many decades before you guys even know what the word Raging Cajun was.
Oh, I struck a nerve. I'm sorry.
I could kick you off this podcast right now. I could do that little button right Shaw's right there and be like, "Bye, Kev."
Go ahead. Lose the viewers.
I couldn't do that to you, man. I couldn't do that to you.
Hey, but seriously though, guys, look,
they
safe travels.
Kev, man.
Safe travels, y'all. Safe travels to everybody going up there. Have a good time. Be safe. Don't do anything too crazy. I never said crazy, but too crazy. Meanwhile, we're gonna hold the fort for y'all down here in Acadiana and go crazy down here. But Nick, we're pledging right now, Sunday, when we take care of business tomorrow.
No, I'll
Saturday,
be there. No, absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah. We'll be there.
And we're going to be live for every post game. Maybe do a pregame tomorrow. Depends who I have coming on. I am trying to get some former players to come on and give breakdowns of each game on our post game show. So that will be pretty cool. So we usually go about 15 to 20 minutes after every last pitch. So might have some really cool things going on this weekend if we can work it out. Thanks to James once again for the $5. There's a natty daddy right there for you, my boy.
The legendary Poo Poo.
He's laying some fresh sausage and
what's funny about that? That's literally what me and Blair ate for dinner tonight. She had some Rouse's, some green onion, fresh sausage from Rouse's.
Oh man.
And we did a sausage rice and gravy.
You ever had
Man.
Nunu's
It
green
hits the
onion
spot.
sausage
It's
ball?
so
Yes, I did. It's phenomenal.
Bruh, it's really good.
Oh,
Now you're making me hungry. I'm gonna have to go pull some out the freezer. Let's talk a little bit, and I know I'm getting into the weeds on Cincinnati, but I do want to keep it here for a little while because that's who our first opponent is. One of the things that I was talking to their I don't know if he's a beat writer. I know he covers them for 24/7 Sports. He will be down there and probably meet up with you guys because I told him just smell the Cajun food and walk over. But one thing he mentioned is that they have similar issues as we do, and that's apparent in their 1,000 to 1,500 attendance for baseball. Which again, we're in the South, so we're kind of spoiled by that. It is not that way everywhere, especially for northern schools. But for those guys, they fight the Ohio State battle, kind of like we fight the TSAB battle. And even on top of that, they're fighting the Reds and the Bengals because those are the big shows in town. So they fight a lot of the same things that we fight in a much bigger city. I just thought that was interesting, guys. And I don't know if anybody wants to comment on it, but it's you would think in such a vibrant city that would be a main focus. But then again, here at Houston, nobody's going to their baseball games. Now, basketball, they're all showing up. And when they're good in football, they show up. But otherwise, you ain't finding many University of Houston Cougars fans that are going out to games. I feel like it's sort of the same for them. And that's unfortunate because they have a really, really good ball club this year.
Yeah, I mean, that's what happens when you play in a major city. Unfortunately, you're not the hottest ticket in town. There's entertainment elsewhere. Being in Lafayette, we're a mid-major team, right? Or at least that's what they want to call us. Lafayette is almost the definition of a mid-major city. There's other things to do, but when the Cajuns are playing and when the Cajuns are good, I would say a good chunk of Lafayette shows up to support their boys. So, yeah, that is the downfall of playing in a major city like Cincinnati and having to share time with maybe pro teams, whether it be, or I'll take it a step further, or even sharing times with other major universities that are in the area. It's just that's the downfall. Even Baton Rouge, if you want to take it a step further, you compare, the situation to LSU and Baton Rouge. Baton Rouge, outside of LSU, doesn't really have anything going on. So same situation. It is down south. We care a little bit more about college baseball in this region than maybe they do in Ohio. It is unfortunate because we know Cincinnati is a damn good program across all sports. They have success in football and basketball and baseball, of course, but it makes you blessed to, think about what we have here in Lafayette. You play in a top-notch ballpark. I would call the Teague a top 25 ballpark if you're being very honest about it. Try not to be too biased. And we play in front of, 3,000 almost every night. So, we're blessed with that situation, and that's what I was talking about earlier. Make the most of the home field advantage that you may have tomorrow night. Show up and be loud, and if you continue to do that for 9 innings, give it all you can as a fan, you feel like you've done enough to kind of springboard your boys to a potential win to get you, matched up with Mississippi State, or at least the winner's bracket game. So, but yeah, Nick, I totally agree. It's unfortunate for them. It's a great university, but they just have too much entertainment in that city to draw enough eyeballs on a consistent basis.
And also, too, I want to add to that, Cincinnati 10 years ago, I think there was like 2015 or 2016, I remember their record was like 15-35. It wasn't that good. They really, since they jumped to the Big 12, I think in 2022 maybe, or 2021, or I think 2022 or 2023, they've done a great job promoting their sports. They're trying to bring basketball back. Their football team has been pretty solid. Not as good as the 21 team, but, competitive, has made a brand for themselves. But their baseball team has really, really escalated themselves compared to where they were before. I mean, if you look at their history, I think they only have like 8 regional appearances as a whole, or even less than that. I'd have to look it up. And I want to say last year and this year, it's the first time I think they've been to a regional in consistent years or consecutive years. So, I mean, they've put a lot of money into the baseball program. And to Cole's point, when you're in a big city, and you know this, Nick, being in Houston with the Astros, if your college team isn't winning in baseball, they're not going to show up. I mean, I could even look at Miami, right? The Miami Hurricanes in that city. They've always had trouble with attendance, even with their football team when they were winning national titles because they're in that market. So I think for a team like Cincinnati, if they can continue to win and continue to bring consistency of success, I think their attendance will increase. If you actually look at their attendance numbers as the season went on this year, no, it's not Teague numbers, But they actually had increased attendance, especially towards the end of the season. I believe their senior day against Texas Tech had over 2,000 fans, which is a big accomplishment for them. So you just keep winning. When you're in the shadow of pro teams, you keep winning, and that's in those big cities. Just keep showing success, and they will show up.
Hey, look, I don't want to.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, you
Well,
can.
I just wanted to add one more thing. So UCLA, number one team in the country, right? They're in Los Angeles. If you took their attendance numbers and mirrored that to the Sun Belt, they would rank number 10 in the Sun Belt in attendance.
That's
That
crazy.
just goes to show you. So, when you play in a big city like that, again, the entertainment is spread out. You have to really put on a show to get those eyeballs at your ballpark. And unfortunately, although they're having new success with Bishop as their head coach, Bishop has been the savior for this baseball program, and he's doing fantastic things. It's just too new yet. If Cincinnati can continue to do this for a couple more years, they'll come. But it's just too fresh, too new, and I'm just hoping the diehard Cajuns can take advantage of it tomorrow night.
I agree, brother.
Yeah,
And
one more thing. Talking about what Jerry was saying, they've been to 9 regionals total. This is their 9th one, and only 3 since 1974. So it definitely is. Baseball success is a bit of a new thing to them. So I know we're kind of joking around on social media about their small crowds and all. They're like little league compared to the Cajuns, but it's we understand how it is in a big city. It's tough trying to get those crowds, especially for a sport like baseball, where I feel like in Ohio, football is king, right? You of course fighting against Ohio State there. That's a football school, and then you got a couple NFL teams, the NFL Hall of Fame, all that good stuff. But no, like Cole said, I just wanted to say we've been in the top 20 or near the top 20 in attendance for the last
2 decades. 2 decades.
Yeah, going back to at least 2013. Since
before that.
Yeah, before that. But I'm talking about like up there, like averaging 3,000 or more. So I feel like sometimes our fans may take that for granted. They might kind of look past that and not realize how really impressive and big of a deal that is. Like, you listen to all these other coaches talk about us and players too, and the first thing they say is how amazing our fan base is and how amazing our stadium is and the support that the town gives the team. So I just wanted to tell people don't overlook that. It means a lot to be a part of something like that, especially like Cole said, when you can get a good group, a good contingency up to a 6-hour drive to Starkville and make it like a home field advantage, kind of like we have in College Station the last handful of years. So that's a really big deal.
I agree. Thanks for the input, guys. Let's move on because we do need to touch on Mississippi State. And by the way, Alex, I see you asking about Owen Galt. We'll talk about the team's health in a little bit. We'll probably wrap that up after we do our full preview. But go ahead, KG, get us started. Let us know what we can expect, not if, but when we meet Mississippi State in this regional.
Yeah, I'm not going to do a deep dive on Mississippi State just yet because obviously Cincinnati needs to be our focus, but I'll touch on Mississippi State lightly for you guys. Obviously, they're the host team in the Stark Vegas Regional, 40-17 overall. They're 16-14 in the SEC this year. They finished the year with a 13 RPI, a 8 strength of schedule, and their DSR is sitting at number 12. Offensively, they average 8.5 runs a game, good enough for 14th in the country. They have hit 106 home runs, good enough for 13th in the country. They have a 11.8 walk rate, good enough for 96th in the country, a 20.4 K rate, 206 in the country, so this is a team that strikes out a good bit. Batting average is 313th, good enough for top 10 in the country at number 9. On-base percentage is sitting at 410, which is good for 34th. So they're slugging 544 for the year, which again is top 10 at sitting at number 8. And I'll turn to the pitching while I have it right here as well. Pitching, runs allowed per game, they're sitting at 4.4, which is good enough for 15th in the country. They have a 29.2 K rate, good enough for 5th in the country. This is an electric pitching staff. Walk rate is a 9.4, good enough for 48th. Their strikeout to walk ratio is 19.8, good enough again for 5th in the country. They have a 1.32 whip as a team, which is good enough for 18th. They have a 4.3 ERA, good enough for 20th, and a 4.86 FIP, good enough for 11th. So as many good things as they do on the offensive side of the ball, their pitching staff is even better. You just gotta hope, and it's unfortunate, but that's why they're a host and they come out of the SEC. You got to hope that when you do face them, they're not on their A game, because when they're on their A game, they are one of the top 5 ball clubs in this entire country, because they not only hit the ball well, they pitch extremely well. And we know, because we've done it all year, teams that pitch and play defense win big games, and that's exactly what the Mississippi State Bulldogs do. So, they got a guy that they're holding to tomorrow, and he's one of the best arms in the entire SEC. All I can say is this, boys. I'm going to zone it back in with blinders on to Cincinnati, and we're going to deal with that mess on Saturday. I don't want to think too far ahead, and I don't want to think about that, because that's kind of why we dove deeper into Cincinnati, because that's the task that's in front of you. Tomorrow night's not going to be easy. Beating Cincinnati's not going to be easy. We're just saying, I gave it to you with all the stats and all the national rankings that Mississippi State has. If you do get your shot at Mississippi State, you better not miss. That's all I'm going to say, because this is a ball club that has a lot of experience. They know what they're doing. They are very comfortable playing in front of an outrageously wild crowd. And I'm just saying, if we can get to that game against them, man, it is going to be an absolute party at Duty Noble Stadium.
You know what I hate is when people say, oh, well, they were a mid-SEC team. Well, I get that. But they're also playing at home, and they're really good at home, and they mash the ball, and they can play baseball. So don't let that, that's just my opinion, guys, and I'll open it up. You can't, they're a host team for a reason, and we can't take, you hear that, oh, we're gonna sweep through this regional. That's a lot easier. Hell, our first team that we're playing might be one of the toughest teams we've played all season outside of a Coastal or a Southern Miss. So this regional is going to be a challenge, and Mississippi State's going to be a mountain to climb.
Yeah, a mid SEC team is good enough to win a national title as much as anybody else. So when they make those comments, it makes me laugh, because there's 10 teams in the SEC right now that are good enough to win a national championship. They're loaded with talent. If you look at the SEC tournament this week, you look at the top 10 teams that made it, they're all competitive, and they all have, I don't know if all of them hosted, but most of them did. So, yeah, this is this Mississippi State team, you may look at the 14 seed and think, oh, well, it's just a 14 seed. Look, you go play at Duty Noble in front of 15,000 rowdy Bulldog fans with cowbells and noise and chaos. I don't care what people think. That team becomes a lot more dangerous, and we've seen it at the Teague on a much smaller basis than that. Just imagine what it's going to be like this weekend. The place is going to be euphoric. So no, I don't understand that perception. They're a dangerous team. We have to definitely block out the noise and drown out the noise the best way possible when we face them.
Yeah, I don't look. I don't think anyone on this team is scared of Mississippi State, and I know that's not really what you're saying, but their RPI is lower than Southern Miss, a team who we went 2-2 with this season. It's they're close RPI wise. Looking at Coastal Carolina, who we beat 4 out of 5 times, there's no team that I think this Cajuns roster is scared of to go out there and think they can't go out there and win a game. Or win a game in a hostile environment. This will be the most hostile environment we've played outside of our stadium. We haven't played really, like I said earlier, we're up there near around the mid-tier SEC as far as attendance and atmosphere goes. So we're ready for that. I don't think we're scared of that. You look at Mississippi State, and they got all these great metrics. They're in the top 10 in half of these statistics here I'm looking at on this page from Pair Ratings. But there's one metric that they do not match the Cajuns in, and that is the amount of water hose boys that they have in that dugout. They're not matching us in that. They're not matching us in grinders. They can't match us in playing hard, fast, and loose. They can't. They're going to be drinking Powerade that mommy brought them in the dugout. They ain't drinking from the hose pipe, baby. So that's the attitude we got to have going into any of these games this weekend. It's the Cajuns versus the world. It's the Cajuns versus everybody this weekend. It ain't Mississippi State. It ain't Cincinnati. We're going after it. We got to be coming hard.
This dude said, what do you, hose pipe? That dude said hose pipe.
I said water hose boy. You drinking out the hose pipe, baby.
The hose pipe.
Y'all don't call it hose pipe?
That must be a Patterson thing.
No, that's a coon-ass thing.
No, look, Mike's shaking his head. Mike's going up and down. His confident ain't heard no hose pipe. Maybe in like Elton or Patterson or somewhere in those areas, but
hose pipe,
not this
water hose, it don't matter. Cajuns in 3, baby.
I like the way you think. All right, boys, let's touch on Lipscomb a little bit, a team we may face depending on how things turn out and how. Who knows? We might beat Cincinnati and Lipscomb may pull off the upset, which would be amazing because I love upsets in college baseball. But talk to us a little bit about Lipscomb, KG.
Yeah, so Lipscomb, the 4 seed in this tournament, is going to come in. The Lipscomb Bison, by the way, for those of you who are not familiar with Lipscomb, they're the Lipscomb Bison, and they are from Nashville, Tennessee. They come into this tournament 29-24 overall, 19-11 in their conference, which I believe is the ASUN. I might be wrong, but I believe it is the ASUN. They are at the end of the year, they were 151 in RPI. They have a 200 strength of schedule and a 149 DSR. Offensively, they average 6.1 runs per game, which ranks them 216th in the country. They have only hit 32 home runs on the season, which ranks them 272nd, which I believe is one of the bottom 10 schools in the country in terms of home runs. Their walk rate, they have a 10.2 walk rate, good enough for 232nd in the country. 18.1 strikeout rate, good enough for 95th in the country. They hit 293 as a team, which is good enough actually for 64th in the country. On-base percentage is 381, which ranks them 150th. They hit 419 in terms of slugging, which ranks them 179th. And let's see, their pitching stats. They allow 6.5 runs per game, which is 183rd in the country. They strike out batters at 18.6%, which ranks them 170th. Excuse me, 170th. Walk rate 12.8, which is 253rd in the country. Their strikeout to walk ratio is a 5.8, which is 208th in the country. They have a 1.7 whip as a team, which is 203rd in the country, and a 6.28 ERA, which is good enough for 184th in the country. I mean, I'm not going to sugarcoat it, guys. I don't know too much about the Lipscomb Bison. I mean, as unfortunately for a team like this, we haven't talked about this all night, but it's a great point. We are one of 2 regionals that have 3 teams ranked in the regional. I think it's us and Lincoln, Nebraska. Our regional has the number 17 Mississippi State Bulldogs, the number 24 Cincinnati Bearcats, the number 25 Louisiana Raging Cajuns. Unfortunately for Lipscomb, who is a low-end 4 seed, they kind of got a bad pairing. You got paired with three really good ball clubs that you don't necessarily match up well with. Like that to be said, I don't know Lipscomb outside of the stats that I'm reading here, and I do have a lineup. Obviously we print out the lineups from D1Baseball.com. Again, thank you, Mike, for doing that for me. But on paper, I mean, they hit a tick under us and they pitch way under us. By far and away, the worst pitching staff in this regional by a long shot. I mean, you're talking about a top 20, or I can even say a top 15 pitching staff in Mississippi State, a top 50, maybe 60 staff in Cincinnati, and then you got a top 40 staff in the Cajuns. And then you're looking at a staff that's maybe outside of the top 200 in Lipscomb. So I don't want to throw too much shade on them. As a 4 seed, congrats on getting in. I think they won their conference. That's great. That's how you get into anything can happen. It's a round of 64. We want you to go out there and give Mississippi State all they can handle and hopefully beat them, tomorrow. So, but yeah, that's a look at Lipscomb, not lighting the world on fire. Again, congratulations on winning your conference. But if the Cajuns were to play them in any point in this regional, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I love the way we stack up against Lipscomb. I think we would do a lot of good things against that ball club.
My boy giving some board material for them right there. Look, Jackson State. Look at what Jackson State did to us in 14 when we were the number 1 team in the country. Dude, you get one trash throwing pitcher that absolute. And by the way, Mississippi State can be beat by swinging at trash. You get one trash throwing lefty up there, and it's going to be a long night for Mississippi State. Maybe it just takes one. It takes one guy to pitch the game of his life, and that could very well happen.
You are absolutely right, Nick. Their strikeout rate, I'm going back to it, Mississippi State's K rate is 20.4, which is outside of the top 200. You are absolutely right. If you can get them swinging, if you can match up with them, and listen, you're not playing in a 3-game set. You just need to beat them in one game on one night. You are absolutely right. If you give me one arm that can match up with that lineup for 6 innings, 7 innings, 8 innings, and keep them down, especially with how hot our offense has been, I'll be the first person to say it, and I've said it a lot the last week. I don't know where this Raging Cajun offense came from. I don't know if they've been drinking Mike's Super Juice from Space Jam, but this offense is night and day from what we've seen all season long. This is an offense we were talking about halfway through the year. I don't know, and I said it a ton of times during the year. I told you boys, I don't know if they'll ever come along. I don't know if they'll ever come along. Well, they proved me wrong. If I had my boot in here, my shrimp boot in here, I would chew on it like a piece of hard steak because they made me eat my foot. This team is red hot right now with guys that are playing hurt, with guys that are playing off of the bench, with people that have only gotten a handful of starts all year. So, yeah, I love what the Cajuns are doing. Offenses, if they can replicate what they did last week at all, just a resemblance of it, we're going to be okay. But the last thing I want to say is y'all were talking about how Mississippi State finished middle of the pack in the SEC. Mike, you were the first one to jump on that comment. Think about this, boys. Just a couple of years ago, Ole Miss was the last team to get into the tournament. Not only were they the last 4 in, they were the last team. They were number 64, and they go on to win the College World Series. So, yes, if you're an SEC team that gets into the round of 64, no matter where you were ranked in the regular season, you're a dangerous team. And it's because your talent level is probably better than any of the mid-majors or the 4 seeds, and you probably have more depth than those guys. And if you can get hot at the right time, we know this because it happened to us last week. If you can get hot at the right time, matchups don't matter. Kev, you said it the best. You can throw all these stats I have a big table right here full of binder work of paperwork, all of it. You can throw all of it across the room. It doesn't matter. It's going to come down to the arm that you got on the mound, the defense that you're playing, which that's why I'm confident in my Cajuns. We're playing great defense right now, and how hot your sticks are. If you can put all of that together for just one game, because it's all about a game at a time now, anybody can win. So I'm with you guys. I'm going to go back to Cincinnati. I love the way we match up with them arm for arm. It's just going to come down to who's going to blink first. And I hope it's them.
My dude is chewing on a white boot like CJ chewing on a water bottle in Section A on a Saturday night, bro. That's wild.
Did he just say Mike's Super Juice? Is that
Yeah,
what it
Mike's
was?
Super Juice.
I thought it was Mike's Super Juice. I like that.
I don't know what dude, I ain't watched Space Jam since I was maybe 5-10 years, but I remember them drinking out the
3 days
Powerade
ago.
bottle.
It was Michael's secret stuff, but no,
Secret
Mike's
stuff,
Super
Super
Juice.
Juice,
Mike's
whatever.
Super Juice is good. I like
the
that.
secret
I like
Charles.
that.
Come on, man.
Mike's Super Juice. I like
Mike,
that.
you got
I
some
like that.
super. No, don't answer.
Mike, you got some Super Juice.
Yeah, I don't.
No,
I
let's
don't wanna
not.
know
Let's
about
back
Mike
off
either.
of that.
I don't think
Let's back
anybody
off
here
of
wants
that.
to know
That's
about
what's gonna happen. No, they're gonna be in Duty Noble. We're gonna need a rally like in the ninth. Everybody's gonna be like, Mike, where's that Super Juice?
No, we're not gonna be asking Mike for his super juice.
No.
We'll figure out another way, guys. We'll just hit the baseball. We don't need super juice. No, but
How did
like
we
Cole,
get here?
to go back a second, talking about Lipscomb, Mississippi State's not even. They're pitching backwards, right? So they're throwing their Saturday guy Friday afternoon against Lipscomb. Man, I think this might be like the 4th time in my life I've ever heard that word, the name of this school. I'm a fan of theirs. Friday, I'm a fan of the Bison. If they can knock somehow, and I know they played Mississippi State earlier this year, for the record, and they kind of got waxed. So, but hey, that's 3 more games that they have experience against those guys. If they can somehow pull off a win Friday and get to that winners bracket to face us or Cincinnati, that could change the entire outlook of the whole regional. And Coach Deck said on the radio yesterday, he said, I told the guys we're 5 wins away from Omaha. We're 5 wins away from Omaha. You go 3-0 here and you win 2 games in a super, you are in Omaha. I mean, it's kind of crazy to think about because I know it's like it sounds better than easier than it is, but it's a fact. So.
Well, Kev, you say that the boys just won 6 games last week alone. It's not. I mean, obviously, you're going to be playing the best of the best competition. Not to say that the Sun Belt schools that we share a conference with aren't great schools. We took 5 teams. It's just that you won 6 games last week alone, so that really puts into perspective what you need to walk through the gates of Omaha. So I love that you brought that up because it puts it into perspective, even for the fans.
Yeah,
100%.
And I think like sitting there nodding.
I think. Go ahead, Mike.
I just think from the Southern Miss series, and I could be wrong, but I feel like when the Southern Miss series is when our offense clicked. I feel like that was whenever we just went on a really good run. We needed to beat Southern Miss. We did it offensively. You go to App State, we needed that win. We did it offensively. You come in the tournament, well, one, you beat Coastal at home when we needed it offensively. And then you go into the tournament and you go from the elimination all the way to the finals, and we did it offensively. So I feel like that was kind of when offense just started clicking. I feel like we're hitting the best, like offensively, we're hitting the best we have been all year. So I feel like they have it in them. I feel like we're going to hit our way this weekend. I feel like we're going to be really good offensively. But I didn't even go down the Lipscomb route because I have Cincinnati. I feel like we're stealing one from Cincinnati. Home field advantage. I think the guys are going to show up. Like Cole always says, we always play to our opponent, and I think we will this weekend. And the boys know what's at stake. I feel like we're well rested. Our injuries have healed. I think we're in a good spot right now. So I feel like I'm not saying we're going on a tear. I just feel like we're going to see really good ball this weekend from the Cajun side. So I do think I do want to say this. If we match up, say we steal one from Cincinnati, which I plan on doing, right? We plan on winning. You go to Mississippi. I just don't want the younger guys to get lost in the moment, right? I don't think Lee, Drew, Donnie, they're mature enough. The freshmen have never been on that stage, 10, 12,000 people packed in a house. They're going to bring more because the bandwagons are going to show up now that Mississippi State's in the postseason. I just want our guys to be mature. I want them to have good discipline at the plate. I don't want our freshmen getting out of the moment. I feel like we have a really good core. If they just have tunnel vision and don't let the atmosphere get above you, I think we'll do really well. So that was my main thing. Don't let the moment get bigger than you. Have the maturity, have the plate discipline. We might be all right this weekend. And look, a lot of people on the national stage have us upsetting, right? Like everybody's saying Mississippi State's beatable. They have fantastic stats. But everybody's saying Cajuns, Louisiana's in a lot of people's mouths and a lot of people's discussions saying we could be a team that could upset. So I just hope we show up. Pitchers got to pitch, hitters got to hit, right? I don't think defense is going to be an issue. So I just hope our boys show up this weekend.
I think one of the most important things the best things that could have happened with this second half of the season turnaround was last week, where you played the number of games in the number of days. But how much, no pun intended with the weather, but how many times did we weather the storm, right? You go in against, you run rule Marshall. That was a cakewalk. But then you go against Coastal, you go up 7 runs, they tie it. Most of the time, last year's team would have lost that game. Still found a way to take the lead, almost blew the lead at the end, and who steps up? The bullpen comes in and shuts them down, ends that game with a win, followed by a heartbreaking loss to Texas State, right? Had the game won, let it slip, you lose that game, and then you come back and you beat a Coastal team again, back-to-back on a Friday night, followed by 2 more wins against the same team that broke your heart on Thursday night. I don't know if any team in America has gone through that type of adversity in a short span of time that led into this regional. So if they're fully healthy and they're well rested, which I think they are, and from what we're hearing from parents and players, we're good to go. I don't know any team in America that's as prepared as we are after what we went through last week. And to your point, Mike, Nick, you and I, Cole, you've been to some games in the past, back in the day, whether it's in College Station or at Alex Box. Once you start making plays against the home team, that crowd, whether it's 10,000 or 15,000, gets pretty quiet pretty fast. So on the flip side of our freshmen, all it takes is 1 or 2 plays by Blaze at shortstop or a double into the gap by Colt Brown or you name it. Duty Noble can get pretty quiet pretty fast if they do that. So I'm excited. I'm actually excited to see this team compete and see how they handle that type of adversity this week.
Jerry, I can tell you for a fact that we're the most prepared team in the country for it. We've played more games than any other team in the country. We've played 62 games, and that's more, and that's without a regular season game that we missed against McNeese. So we're in no doubt the most prepared and toughest team in the country right now, my honest opinion. Playing 7 games in the last 6 days before Monday. We're battle tested and ready to go. I don't think that crowd's going to get to us.
And I'm going to take it a step further because at this time of the year, and I said it earlier in this show, at this time of the year, it comes down to pitching and defense. And I want to show some love. I was actually able to talk to his dad the other night. Shout out to Mr. Matt Brown. Cole Brown, true freshman catcher behind the dish, caught 60 games this year, boys. He leads the country in games started as a catcher, a true freshman catcher. He started every game in last week's conference tournament, playing 7 games in 6 days. And still batting over 300 on the year as a freshman. The kid is a unicorn. And not only that, I'm going to take it one more step further. This true freshman is the guy behind, he's the mastermind behind this pitching staff. The starters, the relievers. I mean, like we talked about, what are we throwing as a team? It's right here somewhere. We have a 4.8 ERA as an entire staff. Good enough for 57th in the country. A top 60 staff that's led by a true freshman catcher that caught 60 games. Incredible job. But I just wanted to say that was my point, is that I wanted to make it a point that pitching and defense is going to be an integral part of anything the Cajuns do this weekend. Kevin, you said it really early on in this show. You're playing on natural grass, natural dirt. Mississippi State, of course, has a beautiful ballpark and beautiful, facilities and grass, turf, all of it. But if the weather plays into that, like let's say we do get a little bit of rain, a little bit of muddy and sloppiness, I love how the Cajuns match up in that regard because we have a top 25 fielding percentage in this entire country. And that's including with the guys that have had to come off the bench to fill injuries and XYZ. So that gives me a ton of confidence. I'm really hoping the Cajuns can shine defensively, led by Blaze Rodriguez, who is literally a human highlight reel as a true freshman. I mean, the guy's making major league professional type plays as a true freshman at a D1 ball club. So I'm really excited to see how the Cajuns play defensively, especially on natural grass and with the weather we may have this weekend.
And I would go even farther than that, Cole. You said Cole leads the country in Cole Brown leads the country in games started as a freshman as a catcher. Blaze Rodriguez hadn't missed a start at shortstop, right? So there you go, Mike. He's 62 games.
You're right. Yeah.
No, I think he missed one because I think he missed one because I specifically remember Rigo having to make a start one time this year. But either way, that means that he's made at least 60 starts 60. Or somewhere. Yeah, that's incredible for a true freshman.
And you talk about the fielding thing. We're 20th in the country right now at a 980 fielding percentage. Cincinnati is 123rd in the country with a 972. They've made a lot of errors. That just adds on to that point to where we got to create a little. We also need to hit the ball. Like I said, we need to get out early and get on fastballs. But we also got to create chaos once we get runners on. It's going to be kind of a balancing act of what we're really known for. Just Wolfpack baseball, just one after the other, and just constant pressure. However it may be, you might have to hit a ball in a gap, you might have to bunt a guy. Whatever it's going to take, I think that's what you'll see.
Can I be honest? I really think it's going to come down to 2-out hitting. I think it's going to come down to 2-out hitting with runners in scoring position. We saw that all week long last week with the Cajuns, where we would have a runner on second and 2 outs, and somebody would come through with a base hit to get a run home, or somebody would come through with a home run to get a couple of runs in. I think tomorrow night is going to come down to 2-out hitting because runs are going to be at a premium. I honestly could see tomorrow night's game being like a 4-2, 5-3 ball game, very low scoring. I don't think either team gets over 5 or 6 runs at the most. So 2-out hitting is going to be, keep that in the back of your mind when I say that, is going to be very crucial for tomorrow night.
And I agree with Josh about it coming down to the bullpen. The thing that gives me confidence is how we pieced it together for 7 games in a conference tournament. I think we could piece it together for 3 or 4 this weekend, hopefully 3. So that's my thoughts, is that I agree with you, Josh, but I think the trajectory of where we're going with that is really good based on what I saw. But that's a small sample size, just conference weekend. But you take that momentum with you. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, it's always going to come down to the bullpen. But when you can have run support, if you can go out there and really do what you did the first 3 out of 4 days in Montgomery, plus as well as our bullpen has done lately, you really give yourself a good shot. And I'm just kind of trying to think about guys that I want to see step up this weekend and do something maybe they haven't been doing. And I think it's kind of poetic justice that you got a left-handed batter with a field that's got a short porch in right field, and who also played at Mississippi State last year, Steven Spalita. That could be a huge spot at the DH in the DH spot to come through and maybe get some of those big shots, those kill shots that Josh loves to talk about. We all love to talk about two-out hitting and off at bats. If we can get him up at the right time, I think he's going to be pumped up for this weekend as well.
Who do you think it most benefits this weekend as far as the dimensions of Dudy Noble Field? Obviously, I think it's an advantage offensively for Cincinnati and Mississippi State, who's played in there. Do you think the way that we swung the bat last week, that gives us a little bit of momentum, offensively, potentially? What do you guys think about that? Do you think it'll play into the game as much as I do? Yeah.
For me,
I see a lot of nods.
For me, it's going to come down to how the weather is. I don't know how that field plays. I don't play enough at Mississippi State to know how that field truly plays, whether it's a launching pad, how the wind blows in or out. At the Teague, the wind blows in, and it's a massive park, so it's a pitcher's park. So, but you could even throw that out the window. I'll be honest with you. If we can generate a couple of home runs this weekend like we did last week, great, wonderful. But I think specifically for tomorrow night, and most of y'all would agree with this, we know what we're going to get from Cody. He's going to keep it down in the zone. They'll probably touch him, a time or two here and there. Like you mentioned, Kev, he maybe give up a home run or two, but as long as it's a solo or a 2-run, that won't kill you. What I'm getting at though is with Cody's stuff, and this is how I think, and I told you guys this a ton. When Cody's on the mound, I'm less stressed. And the reason is you live and die by your best. That's the old baseball saying. So why would I be all worked up like, oh my God, what are we going to do tomorrow against Cincinnati? What are we going to do? With Brash on the mound, who else would you have on the mound? The answer is nobody. He is the best arm you have. Since he's been a starter, I don't know if you know this. Since he's been a starter, he has a .73 whip. .73 whip, which ranks him in the top 5 in the country out of all the starters in the last month and a half. That is insane. Insane. Cody Brash right now is projected, and this is non-biased, this is from a professional scout that went on X, is currently projected to be as high as a second-round draft pick in this year's draft. He's probably going to sit around, the 4th or 5th round, but he can go as high as second if somebody wants to pull the trigger on him. Cody Brash throws 97, he can touch 100, and he has a wipeout slider that is one of the best sliders in all of college baseball. Like, with him on the mound, you can beat anybody. You really can. But Kevin, like you said, if you can get just a little bit of run support, just a little bit, it makes your bullpen much more confident, much more comfortable, and you don't have to burn if we can get out to a good enough lead. You don't have to burn your best bullpen arms in the first game, which I also think is very important. The more arms you can save in this tournament format, the better, obviously. So, like I said, arm for arm, I trust what I have in Cody Brash because the stats speak for himself. Since he's been a starter, he's one of the best starters in the entire country.
Yeah. Nick, I see exactly what you were saying, though. I think what you were saying was, as well as we hit the ball last weekend, just so happens that we get to go to a hitter's type park. That kind of trends more towards our favor, as like sometimes we're struggling like in the middle of the year and we go to like a pitcher's type park and we kind of struggle at home getting some runs in those middle series. I feel like it just kind of worked out well that we go to a park that's a little bit smaller at a time where we're starting to mash the ball. I mean, we're hitting it from the left side, from the right side, kind of up and down the lineup. We're doing a lot of good things in that aspect. That really looks good going into this weekend.
And look, we hit even in the last inning in the finals against Southern Miss, we hit 2 home runs in the ninth.
Yeah.
Even on the short porch, we hit the home run. And on the right side, when it was a deeper field, we still hit the home run. But going back to Cole's point, like D1 baseball had Cody Brash as the number 2 WAR guy. So if you don't know WAR, it's pound for pound. It's every position, every stat crammed in one. Is basically the best player on the field. Number 1, it has Lee, Cody Brash, Drew Markle, Colt Brown.
Man, shout out Drew Markle, bro.
He's a
been flying
silent.
under
He's like
the
just one of those
radar.
guys who's
Yes.
just you don't think of him because he just does his job.
He's
Yes.
been such a huge key to we don't have Drew Markle this year. We're not in this regional.
I
He's
always
been
say-
such a huge key to this season, man. What you got there,
So
Cole?
your little war sheet that you sent to everybody, which I'm assuming is what you're reading off of. I don't know if
Yeah.
you realize this. Cody Brash is the only pitcher on that whole sheet for every team. Cody Brash is listed as the top pitcher in this entire tournament out of every team in terms of WAR. Obviously, Mississippi State's got an absolute dog that's one of the best in the SEC. You know what Nate Taylor brings to the table for Cincinnati. We're going off of WAR, and Cody Brash leads all pitchers in this tournament in terms of WAR. That speaks for itself.
It's remarkable what Cody Brash has done. He's coming from a junior college, right? He started with us as a closer. Then he gets put into a starter role. Now, like as a scout, how do you scout him? Do you scout him as one of a really high velo guy that could be a closer for your program at the next phase, or is he a starter that can get you 4 or 5 innings still throwing 97? What he's done? He's put himself on the map from a JUCO to a D1, and now he's going to get drafted. There's no doubt he's going to get drafted. He took down the biggest programs in the Sun Belt, and what he's doing right now is phenomenal. He's got game 1 in the regional. He's the number 2 WAR guy on the UL's roster. He's just amazing. He's done so much for us.
Hey, on that point, shout out to my guy, J. Cole, man. Josh has been saying since the beginning part of the year that Cody could be a guy that makes it big in the league. And he always said he had some really good stuff, probably the best stuff we've seen on a Cajuns team in quite some time. So shout out to him. He called that one from the get-go.
All right, guys, I am going to hop off for a second. What I need you to do, KG, for me, and I'm hopping off because Will Heron with News 15 sent me some video clips from today, and I need to hop off to download them because the connection's really, really bad between me and the server for some reason. So I'm going to quickly download those. If you could pull up the Sun Belt matchups for the regional, I think that's an interesting topic to talk about, is what other teams across the Sun Belt are going to be doing this weekend, and who's set up to win not only Friday night, but who's best set up to win the regional. So that's something I wanted to bring up to you guys. You let me know when you're ready to go, KG, but I think Southern Miss is dangerous, but man, that Hattiesburg regional is going to be tough. That's going to be a tough regional. I think they are set up for Friday night. After that, it's going to be really, really, it's going to be a lot of fighting going on there. But I just wanted to get your thoughts about what you thought this weekend, how we would go for the other teams in the belt, including Texas State, who I guess is technically in the belt. KG, you pulled that up yet?
Yeah, I'm gonna start with I'm gonna start with the Hattiesburg regional and work my way around. We know Coastal's at Tallahassee. Texas State is in A&M and College Station. Is that right? Is it Austin or College Station? Texas State is. You know off the top of your heads?
They're at A&M.
I think they're at A&M. Yeah. So, but yeah, I'll start with the Hattiesburg regional. You can go ahead, Nick. But yeah, boys, they got screwed. If I'm being honest with you. Go ahead.
The patients are running the asylum right now. You want to keep talking about baseball? Or you want to talk about what we're going to drink this weekend? Nick's out of here.
Hey, we can do whatever we want, boys. Yeah, it's like letting the children. It's like letting the kids run the classroom. Oh, Mike dropped out too, so I guess it's just me and you, Kev. But no, we can keep talking ball. I did want to say one or two more things about the Cajuns before we talk about the Sun Belt, which, getting 5 teams in. Me and you talked about this off to the side. It's a conference changing thing. Honestly. Oh, look, Mike's back. Let me add him back. But Mike, perfect timing. The Sun Belt getting 5 seeds, into a regional is going to change the whole trajectory of this conference. We already knew, because we're fans of the conference, that this was always a diamond sport conference. It was always a baseball and softball conference. But we very much took the next step this year. And I said it a couple of times. I think with Louisiana Tech coming in, even with Texas State leaving, I think with Louisiana Tech coming in and the kind of culture that they have that's built around baseball, it really will only get better, especially from a rivalry standpoint, because they're going to fill in so nicely with all the rivals that are in the Sun Belt West, right? Us, ULM, Arkansas State, Southern Miss, Troy, all of those guys. So, but no, I wanted to say a couple more things because we didn't say it at all today, pitching-wise for the Cajuns. Mike, correct me if I'm wrong. We are top 5 in the country of getting innings pitched out of our starters. Top 5 in the country. And I want to say we're only one of 3 teams. I want to say it's us, Auburn, and I'm missing one.
Northern Illinois.
Auburn, and Northern Illinois, you said? Only one of 3 teams in the tournament that get over, is it 6 innings pitched from their starters? Is that the stat? 5. Okay. I knew it was one or the other. That is insane. But I've been saying that all year. I've been saying that all year long to you boys. But y'all know, you'll go to every game. Our starting pitching is different. It's different. Like, our starters are true starters. And what's really cool about this team is like a Cody Brash, right? That started half the year as the closer, and then he gets asked to be a starter. And what does he do? We thought he was best served as a closer. He takes the ball on Friday nights, and he proves he might be the best pitcher in all of the Sun Belt in half of a season. Same with Herman. You know, Herman's just been that absolute bulldog for the Cajuns since he stepped on campus. He's a name that none of us are going to forget anytime soon. I mean, I'm not going to let anybody forget about Andrew Herman, ever. And then Ty Roman is another name. First game of the year, Friday night, Ty Roman was your Friday night guy. Got into some early trouble in his early starts, had that one inning that would always get away from him where he would give up 3 or 4 runs, and got demoted for Sawyer Pruitt. And guess what? Ty Roman works his way back, gets a couple of starts in the midweeks, becomes the Sunday starter, and just absolutely is the most consistent guy on the mound.
And you can even say the same for Sawyer Pruitt. I mean, he was a guy that was bumped out of that spot. You know, he went from a guy that started midweeks to a guy that started on Sunday, and then they moved him to Friday. He struggles a bit. Some stuff happens. He gets bumped to basically like a reliever role, and then back up to a starting role in the tournament. And throughout the whole thing, he's given it his absolute all. I mean, huge props to Sawyer. And like you said, Ty, you know, Coach mentioned before that Ty kind of took that whole thing. I mean, getting bumped down from a Friday night guy has got to be kind of tough, you know, especially Sawyer too, being a young guy. You know, he's a freshman. So for those guys to just be men about it and just realize that it doesn't really matter. It's not about you. It's about the team. That just means so much to me personally.
I think with Ty's situation is so interesting. He goes from the Friday night guy, like, right, you're the face of the franchise, to getting booted to Sunday, getting booted to midweek, to bouncing back to Sunday, and then now he's still giving you half or 3/4 of a game. That every outing he's getting you to that 5th, 6th inning. So, look, from a mental standpoint, that is tough for a kid to get booted from Friday, right? Then you get booted to midweek, and then you back in the rotation, and now you're one of the best 3 in the rotation right now. So props to Ty. I thought Ty, what he's done this year has been pretty good, really good. And he's coming from a JUCO, right? So he's not used to this. And then I think the more innings he has under his belt, the better he's getting. So I hope he comes back next year. I think next year we'll see a whole different Ty. But I always thought it was really impressive because from where he started to the middle of the season to now where he's at, he bounced back in a really good way, especially from a mental and physical standpoint.
Can I say one more name? And it's a guy that absolutely fell off a cliff in the middle of the season. It's J.R. Tillett. J.R. Tillett early on in the year ate up a lot of innings. Listen, he ate up a lot of innings for this ball club. He had a lot of really good Sunday starts outside of Texas State where things kind of fell off a cliff, and that's what I was referring to. But J.R. Tillett may have recreated himself last weekend, boys. I know, listen, when these Mississippi State coaching staffs and these Cincinnati coaching staffs and Lipscomb, when they're going to look at this bullpen roster and the ERA and whatever, they're going to say, man, J.R. Tillett, he's got an 8-something ERA, but look at all the appearances and the innings. Well, I'm here to tell you, if you go off of stats, they don't tell a story because JR seemed to completely turn a page last weekend. And I think we're all appreciative of that because if we get deep enough in the tournament, we were always, especially the last couple weeks, boys, we were praying that somebody on the back end of this staff was going to step up and fill that last role that had the question mark, whether it was going to be Garrett Carter or Pappenbrock or JR. And funny enough, Pap and JR both kind of filled the role last week. It felt like the bullpen just fell together and the puzzle piece finally dropped and created the full picture. So again, I'm hoping that the bullpen is done. Like I hope that everybody's comfortable enough and confident enough in their stuff to where we don't have to have question marks anymore because it's tournament time. The time for questions is done. If you got questions, that's how you get bounced. So I hope we got it figured out last week and we get it done, boys. I got a lot of confidence in the boys and I just, a game at a time. Take it a game at a time.
I left here thinking that I'd come back and y'all be talking about Southern Miss and us making the World Series, and here we are talking about a bullpen. What's going on, boys? We got
Well,
all
let me-
off topic.
We have more
Let me-
stuff to say.
Let me fill you in. I just wanted to drop in this. I just wanted to drop in the stat, Nick.
I'm just messing with y'all.
Well, I just wanted to drop in the stat that we're only one of 5 teams in the country that have our starters have over 5 innings pitched, on average, and then we're only one of 3 teams that actually made the tournament out of that list. So I didn't want to get off the air without saying that. That is a phenomenal stat. A credit to Sandy, a credit to Deggs, a credit to Colt Brown, who manages the staff. The Cajun. This is a special team, and Kev, I love what you said earlier. This is arguably the most battle-tested team in the entire country, playing 62 games and it's the style in which we played those games. The ups and the very big down and then the very big up back again. It's been a roller coaster, and with that roller coaster, it made us find ourselves. It made us figure out how we can win and how we can lose games and what we need to do to win and what we can't do, to lose. So I just think we are extremely battle-tested, and I really do have a lot of confidence going into this weekend. It's a tough regional, but it's a fair regional, and if you play ball, you can win this regional.
Real quick, I'm glad what you said about JR, because I think me and a few other people said it. He was going to be the key, the linchpin to going deep in this tournament this past weekend. And he played a couple of big roles there along with Parker Smith and Pap and some other guys and Sawyer. But JR pitched really good Sunday. And I think JR truly is one of the best, most toughest and selfless guys on this team. He's getting back to his form at such a perfect time. I mean, if you look at between our 3 weekend guys, and then you got Sawyer, who looked really, really good in a start. I think the last game against Texas State, he looks like he still needs to be a starter. He feels more comfortable in that starting role. And then Junior, of course, I feel like he can go either way. He could be a starter. He could be a reliever. So you could have 4 to 5 possibly really good starting pitching performances if you need it this weekend, depending on if you got to come out of the losers bracket or not. So I think overall, dude, the bullpen is actually in a pretty good spot right now.
All right, boys, let's now that we have a little bit of time before we go to some clips from our boy Will Herod, because I think it'll be good stuff, and that's about 7 minutes long. It'll be a little lengthy, but you get to hear from several players and Coach Deggs, so I do really want to play that whole clip in just a bit. But around the Sun Belt Conference, Little Rock travels to Southern Miss for the regional tournament. That'll be the first game tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock. I know we'll all be watching that game very intently. Miami will be the home team in their game versus Troy in the Gainesville, Florida regional. That is at 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Louisiana, of course, will be facing off against Cincinnati. Cincinnati is the home team. Feels like we haven't been a home team in like 3 years after this tournament. But that will be happening at 6 o'clock tomorrow night on ESPN+. Coastal Carolina is a home team versus Northern Illinois. That is at the Tallahassee Regional, 7 p.m. tomorrow. And then Texas State will be the away team versus USC, 8 o'clock tomorrow night in the College Station Regional. Very quickly, I do want to go around the horn. I guess besides the Cajuns, because I think we all agree we have a very good chance to move to game 2 in the winner's bracket. Who is the one other team in these matchups? And I guess, maybe I'll say 2 other teams, because I feel like Southern Miss will get by Little Rock. Who are the 2 other teams that you think have the best chance to move forward? Or who do you think will not move forward? I guess give me one of each. I'll start with you, KG.
So I have never been more of a Troy baseball fan than I will be tomorrow night, because F the Miami Hurricanes and everything. That I hate Miami with every fight. If Miami was playing Iran, I would have a turban on watching that ball game. I'm just letting you know. So no, I'm a Troy fan, but I'll say it. Southern Miss, even though they're playing in a tough regional, I know they got Virginia and some other tough draws. Little Rock is a tough 4 seed, but I think Southern Miss is a very complete ball club. Honestly, I thought they should have been the national.
I think they're just too good. Yeah.
I thought they should have been the number 8 national seed. And the thing that makes Southern Miss dangerous is their offense finally showed up. Their offense was always the question. Now, they've won games consistently all year long, but their offense would go in lull, it would go in ebb and flows at times. Their offense is peaking just like the Cajuns are. Their offense is peaking at the right time. Their pitching was always there. Their pitching was there all year long. That's why they won so many games. But if you compare that with a dangerous and deadly experienced offense, which is what they are, man, they're going to make a deep run. So give me Southern Miss. I think they're going to find a way to get out of their own regional with that. They got one of the best atmospheres of anybody that's hosting this weekend. I mean, Pete Taylor Ballpark is awesome. It's a bucket list ballpark to go to. I mean, they get crazy out there. So give me Southern Miss. I think that they're going to get the job done. On the losing side, I'm going to go Texas State. And it's not a knock against them. We know we got bad blood there. Yeah. It's a tough matchup. You got to play USC, which USC was arguably just on the outside looking in of maybe even hosting their own regional. So you got to play a tough number 2 seed, probably the top-ranked number 2 seed in the entire tournament. On top of, if you win that game, you got to go and play the number 1 seed. Or if you lose that game, So I just think Texas State got a really bad draw. I'm gonna look for them to probably be, unfortunately, bounced if I had to put my money on any of the 5 Sunbelt schools. Give me Texas State to maybe drop out, unfortunately, and give me Southern Miss to be able to finish it out and move on to a super.
Drew, I wouldn't be surprised if Southern Miss meets up with Jacksonville State on Saturday and has to come back and beat them twice, but I think they do. So I don't think Jacksonville State gets out of that regional. Kev, your thoughts about Friday night's games?
Yeah, I'm glad he said that about Jack State, man, because honestly, I still think Southern Miss has the best chance to come out of that regional. You're looking at other than the Cajuns regional. From the Sun Belt, but it still might be the toughest one because I think Jack State, I mean, I know they're a lesser-known program, a smaller school. I mean, if you kind of dig into that team a little bit this year, they're really good. I mean, they're 46-13. They're hitting the ball. They're pitching it really good. It's going to be super tough for Southern Miss, but I still think the Golden Eagles get out of there. Either way, either if it's Jack State or Southern Miss, I think if they win the regional, whichever team, they're going to be in Omaha. I think they get past the winner from the Florida Troy Miami regional. Troy playing Miami. Look, I don't like Troy at all, and I don't really give a shit about Miami. So I'm kind of on the fence about that one. Like, yeah, I want to see the Sun Belt teams succeed, but I mean, also it would be cool to have a Troy and Southern Miss super regional, right? So I guess we got to root for them there. I agree with y'all. Texas State, they're in a really tough spot. Lamar's got a great team this year. They've had a good team the last couple of years or so. I think USC is a team that's going to make a push for Omaha, and obviously Texas A&M. It's going to be a tough regional to win. I do see USC coming out of that regional though, for the record. And if you go down the list, the only Sun Belt club right now that's not kind of peaking at the moment out of the 5 is Coastal. They're struggling a little bit. I think they're going to get the Friday game against NIU, but I think me and Cole both agree they're not getting past the Noles. So I think Florida State's going to come out of that one. Yes, sir. Let's go. I think Florida State's going to come out of that one and face against or match up against Georgia Tech, in my opinion. Or I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Anyway,
yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, I was looking at the wrong thing. I got the bracket in front of me, so.
All right, Mike, your thoughts about Friday night games, and we'll take a look at that video.
I think Southern Miss is probably the best complete ball club in the Sun Belt. Obviously, I think they get past it. Watching them in the conference championship, they had so much energy. They were hitting the long ball. They had everything going for them. I think Troy and Texas State get bounced. Coastal, I do believe y'all are right. I do think they're trending in the wrong direction, but also I think if you get the Coastal that shows up at the beginning of the year, right? Cam Flukie shows up, all the guys, Norman shows up. I think if there's any team in the Sun Belt that could make some upsets, I think it may be Coastal. I'm kind of on the fence with them. I think they're strong enough to pull some upsets and take that regional, but also they're trending in the wrong direction. I think they got some distractions in inside. Maybe with the coach, I don't know. I think what we've seen since we beat them is not the Coastal we know of from what they've been doing at the beginning of the year. So I think Southern Miss takes it. I think Troy and Texas State get bounced. Coastal, that's a team I'm going to be watching this weekend just to see how they respond, how they show up. They're obviously really, really good, really talented. They got guys that are going to get drafted. but they also trending in the wrong direction. So I kind of don't know what I'm going to see out of them. I think Friday, what I see Friday might be with the outcome with Coastal throughout the weekend. So,
Hey, look, I think Coastal doesn't play us, and we're their kryptonite this year, so I think they have a very good chance of getting out that regional. Honestly, they won the other game they played in the tournament, but I also think they kind of let their guard down a little bit. So I'm if right now I'm a buy for Coastal in that regional, but we'll see what happens. I think they get past the first game against Northern Illinois, and then we'll see what happens from there, boys. All right, now time for the fun stuff. Let's get to the video. This is raw footage, so I know it'll start, when the guys are taking a seat, but just give it a little moment. It's about a 7-minute video, but do want to hear what the boys had to say upon arriving at the regional destination, Starkville, Mississippi. Let's see what they have to say.
Yeah, we're very, very proud to be here. It was a long journey for us personally to get to this point, and it's always part of our expectation is to, win the league and win the tournament and find yourself in a regional and have a chance to get to a super and have a chance to get to Omaha. That's stuff that we've done in the past and are capable of doing. And so, based on our season and the way it played out, all of those things were a long shot for us at certain times in the season, and I'm just super proud that we're here with an opportunity to get to keep playing. It's such a great venue, and have a chance to stay together as a team and see how long that we can keep playing. And it's a credit to these kids and their toughness and resiliency, because with the path that we took, a lot of common people would have shut it down and started looking for plan B. And these guys just never did. They kept working. They got better. Their expectation kept building. They kept leading each other. And sooner or later, they took off. And it's been fun to watch. So we're proud to be here, and it's an honor. And I don't ever take these things lightly, because they're hard to come by, and they're getting harder. And college baseball is as good as it's ever been. So this is a great honor for us to be here. Now it's up to us to go make the most of it.
Questions for players? I have one for each of you. Andrew, we'll start with you. Not a lot of pitchers have over 100 innings. Number one, how are you feeling? But two, what do you kind of attribute that to as far as your strength and conditioning to give you that kind of stamina to work deep in the season?
I'd attribute that to John 15:13, no greater honor than to sacrifice for a brother. I'd do anything for this team, anything for each of these guys, and fortunate enough to be in that position, but once again willing to lay my life down for them, and I'm sure they're willing to do the same for this team.
And Lee, obviously 7 games in beautiful Montgomery, right, in the rain. What did you learn about your team, or what did that maybe kind of reinforce about your team that you could take the scenic route and still make it to the title game? 7 games is ridiculous. And so, what did that say about the Cajuns?
Kind of just our toughness. It says a lot about our toughness. And we also just don't care who we play, where we play. We had I don't know if y'all paid attention. We had to go back and forth to Troy 3 times, like an hour drive, off of like 4 or 5 hours of sleep. And we just love to play. We don't care who, we don't care where or when. We just like to compete and like to play baseball, like to have fun.
How was that practice you got in, Coach, in Jackson a little earlier yesterday?
What's that now?
You got that practice in Jackson?
We did. We stopped at the AA Park there in Jackson. I think they're independent now. But it was raining in Lafayette at the time that we were going to practice. And so Coach Tibb had a connection over there, made a phone call or two, and we were able to get, I don't know how long, it was a 3 or 4 hour drive to get over. I can't remember. It feels like we took the scenic route. Something was happening in Baton Rouge, oddly enough, so on the bridge. But we got over there. I thought we had a great 2-hour practice, and had some live ABs and saw a couple of guys throw that are making adjustments, and it was good to see it. And I don't know, made it in here around, I feel like it was 11 or 12. Mm-hmm. That's kind of our normal schedule right now, though. And so, it was good practice, and this was outstanding. The hospitality here has been tremendous, and what a pearl of a indoor, and and stadium that these guys have.
Lee and Andrew, can you just kind of talk about getting here and taking in the scenery of the ballpark and what it will be like tomorrow with all the Cajuns fans making the trip from Lafayette to get here?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's one of the nicest ballparks in the country. It's pretty sweet. You see all the stands out there in the outfield. It's really unique. I'm excited to get to play here. From a new environment, hadn't played here yet in my college career. So, but yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, we don't really, not going to look too far into it. You know, we're just going to go out there and play our brand of baseball, have fun.
Yeah, it's definitely cool, new scenery as well, but I'm excited for all of Cajun Nation to come out and support us. I think them having our backs will really help compel us during this regional.
For both players as well. This might be one of the last couple games you guys play together. This is your brotherhood. What does it feel like that maybe coming towards the end of that?
I sure hope not. I'm sure we're playing for a few more weeks, but no, it's been a really great season. Regardless, win or lose, this has been a really fun season. I'm grateful that I had the fifth year and opportunity to be able to come back here. But I'm excited for this group of guys and excited to hopefully continue to play baseball for the next few weeks with them.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of feel like we've been playing playoff baseball the last month or so. Kind of, it feels like every weekend's like make or break, and so it's kind of just we just keep playing baseball like we've been playing ever since that Southern Miss weekend or so. Ever since then, it's been must win. So nothing really changes for us. It's just must win baseball.
We had Cincinnati in here earlier, and Coach said that they were surprised when you guys popped up as a 3 because they thought you'd be a 2 somewhere else. I don't know if they're real happy about you guys being on their side of it, but what are your thoughts about the Bearcats so far? Have you had a chance to kind of dig in a little bit, see anything about them?
I know they're good. I know they're a really good team. I don't know a whole lot about them. I had a buddy who played there a few years ago. That's about it. I know they can swing it pretty well. Got some pretty good arms, so it'll be a good game.
Yeah, good matchup. I haven't looked too much into them, but I'm sure they can pitch. I'm sure they can hit it at this point. You know, every team at this and in any regional can do that. So I'm sure it'll be an exciting matchup for tomorrow night.
And we kind of going back to you, offensively, they're very similar to you guys. They like to run, they like to bunt, like to move runners. They got some guys who can run the ball at the ballpark. Having been coached with that, how much easier is it to kind of defend that because you've done it all year in practice?
Yeah, I'd say it's definitely easier to defend the small ball game, like bunting, stealing, hitting, and running, because that's the type of ball we play all fall and all spring training. So I think we're prepared for that, whatever they're going to throw at us in that aspect. And, yeah, we're just going to have to match them because they're going to have a good offense. We have a good offense. So, yeah, we're just going to have to do our part.
Anything else for players? All right, you guys ready to go?
Awesome.
Thanks, guys.
All right, boys, I'm going to keep it low because I know some people turn their microphone or their headsets all the way up to listen to that. Apologies for the sound quality there. You know, again, we're trying to bring this to you live. We just got the file. We put it on there. I'll clean it up and post it on socials later. But again, thanks so much to our guy, Will Heron at News 15. They've been great partners throughout this baseball season and football season. Anything you guys want to comment on that we heard from those guys today? I thought hearing from Herm, I mean, that just further proves how much of a team guy he is. How can you not love that guy? I guess that's my question. I'll open it up, but how can you not love Andrew Herman and what this team means to him and what he means to the team?
Yeah.
Tip my hat to him.
I mean, he opened up with a Bible verse, you know, saying he'll die for his brothers. He'll lay his life down for his brothers. And at another point, he said they kind of asked him about the atmosphere and everything and playing at the big stadium. And he said the first thing he said was Cajun Nation. He's excited for Cajun Nation to show up, you know. That them being there really does make a difference for them. It kind of propels them forward. So, I mean, we've been saying it all year. You can't say enough about Herm. But something else that kind of stood out to me that Lee had mentioned, I think Will had said that Cincinnati's a similar offense, a similar club to what UL does schematically, offensively. So he said it's kind of easier to defend that because you go up against the same type of ball club in your own offense at practice, you know, all year long. So that's a kind of a key note I took away from that. it could be a bit of an advantage there when you're playing up against a team that plays a similar style of baseball to you.
Lipscomb. That's interesting how Drew put the lips with Lipscomb. Any other comments from you boys about the? I mean, obviously we all loved it, but anyone else? I see you there, Mike. What you got?
Just real quick, I thought Lee and Herm were the perfect guys to put on that stage right there. Those are the two leaders from a pitching and offensive standpoint. I thought what Lee said about travel, I was making notes. What he said about travel was really big, right? They, from a mental aspect, from you have to travel ballpark to ballpark in that weather and also in the conference tournament. That's a mental strength. I thought he was absolutely right when he said they've been playing playoff baseball. He was spot on with that. I think Herm mentioned about verse about laying his life was the perfect guy to say that, because Herm would literally throw his arm off of this team. He's been so durable for us this year. And I think he's absolutely right. With Cajun Nation showing up, I think we will show up tomorrow. I think tomorrow is going to be a home field advantage. So he's right. I just hope these guys can feed off of it tomorrow. But those are the perfect guys to put on that stage.
Good stuff, boys. I appreciate the comments. Let's move on. We got a couple more things before we call it a night. I do want to ask you, you folks, and I don't know if anybody here has any insight into it. I believe the team is as healthy as it can be. I know we had a little virus that ran through potentially during the tournament. I think the guys are much better. I know OG is expected to be back this weekend. Anything that you guys have heard, obviously without violating HIPAA, but I think we're relatively healthy outside of, we got guys banged up. Noah's banged up. I'm sure Colt's banged up. Not knowing for a fact if that's the case, but you got to figure we've played the most games in college baseball. The guys are going to be banged up. Anyone that we've heard struggling, or do you guys think we're as healthy as we can be?
No, outside of Rigo, I think everybody's going to be able to go. I mean, like you said, we're banged up. I mean, you're 63 games into the season.
Who's not banged up? Yeah,
exactly. Right. So like you got Noah that's battling his little wrist deal. That's probably going to hamper him. Even if you can make the whole run to Omaha, that bone bruise, it takes about a month or so to fully go away. So he's going to be battling through that through the duration of the rest of the season. Owen Galt, like you said, I talked to Miss Liz. She said he literally was sucking down IVs, all week long, and he's good to go. I'm expecting him to play, honestly. But yeah, bottom line, we're as healthy as can be right now. Last note I'll say is Colt Brown, obviously having to catch 7 games in 6 days. He was really fatigued at the end of last week, but I'm hoping this week he even got a lot of rest in and got those legs recharged, because we're going to need him. Now, I'm not expecting us, obviously, to play another 6 games, but if he can just give me, a solid 4, maybe even 5 at the most, that would be plenty good enough for me and for this ball club. So, yeah, bottom line, we should be healthy enough to do what we got to do this weekend.
I'd love to get OG back at second base, put our boy Donnie in right field, get Lee back to first. Man, that's going to be dangerous. So I'm looking forward to that. And also, Cincinnati game tomorrow night, the 2 catchers that'll be on the field might be the best 2 catchers that we have on the field this entire regional weekend. So that'll be a lot of fun to watch. Let's talk about the Marshall exodus very, very quick. Keep an eye on that. I'm not going to go around the horn and ask for opinions, but there are a couple of really good players for Marshall, if you've been keeping track on social media, that have announced their departures from Marshall, one of them being a pitcher. One, I think, is a position player, potentially an outfielder. So keep an eye on that. I'm not saying that Sandy would have a hand in recruiting them here once they hit the portal, but you know what? Sandy's in Louisiana, and one of them's a pitcher, and why not? I'll take some good players, and actually they're both pretty good players. So the portal fun is about to get going. Keep an eye on some of those Marshall guys. Let's see if they end up in or at Louisiana. Last thing I'll do before we go to Grimmies, I just got to tell you boys, talking to the guy from Cincinnati, one of the things that we brought up was Skyline Chili, because that's pretty much the only thing that Cincinnati's known for. And this is, let me get this off the screen real quick. But I don't understand what the fascination is with Skyline Chili, because it does not look appealing. And I don't know why. All right, I can't put it up there. So I will just tell you, Skyline Chili, for all of those who don't know what it is this Shaw's right here. It's spaghetti with meat stuff on top of it with cheese. And it's spaghetti, guys. It's spaghetti. And they call this chili. And Joe Burrow hates it. And I would understand. Joe Burrow spent a lot of time in South Louisiana. I get why he would hate this.
So let me ask you this, Nick. Is Skyline a chain, or is it like a standalone like restaurant that's like just known throughout?
I think it's a Cincinnati exclusive.
Okay.
It's kind of like the Best Stop.
Okay. Because I'm gonna be honest with you. If you want a good like a chili spaghetti, I could throw some some fresh sauce. No. I'm just saying I could throw some fresh sausage in there, and I'll show you what a real spaghetti's supposed to taste like. But yeah, that's just a cheesy
you
spaghetti.
Get some of the Cajun power, put some grind meat in that, and you got yourself a Skyline chili. Better, 10 times better. What you mean they put chocolate in their spaghetti, Drew? You're making me ill. That's nasty. I don't want to spend too much time on that disgusting stuff. No
anyway, if the spokesman of your entire city is going to come out and say that he don't like Skyline chili, you kind of don't have a leg to stand on. Because I'm going to be honest, I ain't never heard Dustin Poirier say, man, I don't like the rice and gravy they make in Lafayette, Louisiana. I call bullshit on that.
Yeah,
so, yeah, if the spokesman of your city saying that restaurant sucks, you ain't got no legs to stand on, T-boy.
And that's their biggest thing. It's that chili. It's that spaghetti sauce. I
just love the face that Jerry made when he put the comment Andy made. He said that looks like something Jerry would cook.
That
needs like, what? Why me? What the hell did I do?
Yeah, we need to take that
10-foot pole.
That needs to be a sticker in the group chat right there. His face there. That'd be great. I still don't understand the chocolate on the chili, but whatever, dude.
Hey, one more shout out to Harambe from the Zoo of Cincinnati. We can't get off the show without talking about Harambe, baby. If we're gonna talk about Cincinnati,
talking about it.
If we're gonna talk about Cincinnati, you got to bring it up Harambe. I think what was it yesterday? It was the anniversary of the death or whatever. But yeah, if we're talking about Cincinnati, can't let it go without talking about that big fella.
Look, Cincinnati's their motto should be, "Hey, at least we're not Cleveland." I mean, that's literally all they got.
Boys, Jerry, for fun fact, Jerry Springer was one time the mayor of Cincinnati.
Yeah, that's crazy. I thought it was Cleveland, but wherever. That's crazy stuff. All right, boys, time for Gurmese, brought to you by Eat Lafayette and Lafayette Travel, which you saw a lot of those Lafayette Travel commercials, which apparently rubbed off on our Texas State friends. Went on their podcast earlier today, and they were like, man, I guess we need to go down there. That was like every other commercial. Yes, you do, because we have real food here. But y'all have the river, so I'll give you that. Boys, as we close tonight out, I do want to go around the horn, starting with you, Mike. What is your favorite Cajuns baseball postseason moment of all time?
It was whenever we went to A&M and we took down Texas Longhorns, and we were all on TV for basically the entire game. We were getting texts left and right. We were at everybody in Section A. We had way bigger crowd than Texas Longhorns. We took them down. That's a big baseball program. I thought it was awesome because I was there. I was there to witness it. We took them down. Took down the Longhorns.
That was pretty awesome. You know what? I'll give that to you. And one of the great memories too would be Texas A&M, the Jeffries Tadford game, where he absolutely had a career night. I think that's one of my favorite. I can't give a favorite because I have so many, but that's one of my favorites is Jeffries Tadford robbing Texas A&M of a home run for us to take the game. That was pretty unbelievable. Kev, what you got?
Yeah, so like I'm a younger Cajuns fan, so I'm going to go with something that I feel like some more younger Cajuns fans didn't get to experience, and Drew's got it right there. It's the same video that every young Cajuns fan watched on YouTube a million times growing up. It's the walk-off bunt against Clemson. Ball gets past the first baseman, comes around to score from first, a game-winning run. That's got to be, for me, even though like I was 2 or 3 years old at the time. So, I didn't know what was going on, obviously. But to watch it just growing up over and over again and going back and watching all those videos, Nick, you've posted a bunch of them on, I guess, your YouTube, of the old-time Cajun games, especially that moment being our moment to, solidify at least a third-place finish in the College World Series that year. That was just – that had to have been the coolest thing to experience, right? I mean, you were there.
It was stupid. And then Big Lynn comes out the dugout like he gonna fight somebody. Because everybody, that's when Clemson, they started, but this guy came out of center field and like pushed one of our players, and then it wasn't a brawl, but it was like one of those hey F you things. And then here comes Big Lynn out the dugout. That was one of my favorite moments, man. Was seeing Big. I'm like, what we gonna do, man? What we gonna do? Come on.
Wait, were you in the dugout when that happened?
Yes. That was one of the few games I attended. I didn't attend the whole time, but I did attend a couple games. That was fun. Jerry, what you got?
I'm going to say 2014 Mississippi State, when we won the regional the first week. It wasn't an actual play. It was when the team, after we won that regional, because we came out the losers bracket, and then we had to win 4 or 5 games, and then we had the, if necessary, game 7. Blake Trahan gets a key hit. We were the visitors that night, top of the 9th, I think, to go up 5-3. And then I think Matt Plitt shut him down. We get that. I think the guy from Mississippi State strikes out, and then Strentz hits Chase Compton, throws the ball to Chase Compton at first base, and we win. But the most memorable part of that night, that whole weekend was fun. Those 2 weeks were euphoric, okay, between the regional and super regional. But what was great about that night was after, when the entire team came and high-fived, made a victory lap around the Teague and high-fived all the fans. That to me represents the relationship and the bond between Cajun Nation and Cajuns Baseball. I mean, that was so awesome. I think they did a bunch of victory laps, and that was something I'll never forget. Especially, Nick, you and I, we worked the games that year, so it was even more special being a part of it from that type of perspective. But yeah, definitely winning that 2014 regional and watching the players high-five the fans in that victory lap after.
You know, Zach Osborne was one of the better pitchers that we've had as a Cajun, and man, he doesn't get enough. He doesn't give enough props. But I will tell you that pitching performance versus Rice in 2010 was something else. KG, I'll let you give final thoughts here.
Yeah, so you touched on, and I was going to give 2 because they're both equally important, at least in my life. You touched on the first one. As a young Cajuns fan growing up, I became a diehard the day that I watched Jeffrey Tadford rob that home run at Texas A&M. That was one of my not the earliest memory I've ever had of the Cajuns. Of course, I grew up around the ballpark here and there, but I became a diehard that day. That's the day that I fell in love with Cajuns baseball, is when Jeffrey Tadford made one of the best home run robs that I've seen almost to this day still. Now, my favorite Cajuns moment of all time was the 2014 Super Regional, when Tyler Girard decided to yank one over the right field wall for a 3-run home run in Game 1 of that in Game 1 of that Super. I remember I was a student at UL. I want to say it was either my freshman or sophomore year. I was one of 25 students or so to be able to get a student ID, because out of those 25 students, we had proven that we had gone to every single home game that year. And it was kind of unfair that we were able to use our red dot cards to get into every single home game until the the super regionals. Even the regionals we were able to get in. It was the supers that they weren't. And we were able to plead our case, and about 20 to 25 of us got standing room only tickets down the third base line in the pavilion. And I watched the entire 3-game series on an upside down trash can with my arm basically at the corner of the bullpen. I was able to watch all the bullpen pitchers warm up and watch the games. So that's how I spent all 3 of my games. And like I said, my favorite moment is watching Suge yank that home run down the line. Funny enough, Tyler Girard is actually my daughter's soccer coach now, so I get to see him from time to time. But that was the loudest that I have ever heard the Teague, outside of this year, whenever we were able to get out of trouble against LSU and the place absolutely erupted. And that's whenever we were doing the whole, but that was the old Teague, which makes it even more special. Back then it was a glorified ballpark. We love it. It was very close to our hearts, but man, that place was it was loud as it ever could have been. So that's going to live in my heart and in my thoughts for a long, long time. I love that play.
I have to laugh at that, Cole, because, I mean, we all remember the 3-run bomb by Suge, but what made it funny is you mentioned Jeffrey Tadford. Jeffrey Tadford was actually in the row behind us in that game, because we were in the old grandstand, and I remember when Suge hit that 3-run shot, I turned around to high-five. We were going crazy, right? I turned around to try to high-five Jeffries, and as I high-five him, I literally fell out of my chair because I was climbing. I don't know what happened, but I was climbing and I fell down because we were all going nuts. Like the whole entire row almost collapsed because we were all going crazy after that. So yeah, that's kind of funny. You kind of tied in Jeffries to that home run moment. It was great. It was awesome.
The old teak's kind of like Blackham Coliseum. The memories there were fantastic. How I would love to go back and play a couple more games in the old teak. But and look, 2014 Box Awesome, which was the press box that we sat in, was amazing. But also had no working ACs. They had one bathroom.
It smelled.
Poor potty. Yeah. So
you had
yes, it was.
You had ESPN crews having to set up on the top of the
Duck
grandstand.
It was a deer
Yes.
stand. It was a deer stand.
Yeah, but it was ours, right? And it was special to us. And that's back when the beer was as good as it ever was. The food at the stadium was as good as it ever was. It's just nostalgic, and we miss it to this day.
You can't forget in the Ole Miss Super Regional, we had just as many people outside the stadium watching the game in lawn chairs as they were inside the stadium because the demand for tickets were so high. I mean, everybody talks about the game against LSU this year. Oh, everybody's trying to buy tickets, spend whatever, how much money. But I remember the demand for those Super Regional tickets were through the roof. Like, it was insane how much demand was for that game. And so because everybody couldn't get in, we all got the buzz cuts. Yeah,
We all got regional hairdos.
We all got
Even
the
Mike,
regional haircuts.
which
But
Mike
because-
does. Mike's not showing it. Mike's
That's right.
cool.
Because
It's a very
nobody could,
high-end
not everybody
type.
could get in. I remember like the tailgate, because that was during the HUD years.
I love
if you
Mike's
guys
hair.
remember. The HUD years, it was packed. I remember the tailgate scene was just like a HUD football game back then. That's how insane it was for that 2014 Super.
John, haven't seen the roof people in a while, but they're out there somewhere. Wish them well. Boys, we're going to hear a lot of cowbells this weekend. So we're going to Cowtown. And guess what? Big balls in Cowtown, baby. The Cajuns are in town. For all of you watching, appreciate you joining us live, or if you're watching the replay, appreciate you too. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and click the notify me button so that whenever we do go live this weekend, we'll have plenty of pre-games and post-game shows. You'll want to be made aware of it and join us because we'd love to hear from all of you. From my boy Kev, from Mike, for Jerry, for KG, I am Nicholas. It is regional weekend, boys and girls. Let's win us a regional. Until tomorrow, we'll talk to you soon. Have a good night, and go Cajuns.